And we are back.
You know, I actually just saw, here's some continuity for you. It's a reference back to our last episode. We reviewed Captain America Brave New World, which, has been getting kind of shit kicked on the internet. But it made $192 million in its opening weekend. So
That it did.
Got that budget back.
Yeah.
That budget max in the opening weekend.
Good. And we spoke about this ad nauseum on the review that we did. By the way, if you guys haven't seen that review, go ahead and check it out. Even if you haven't seen the movie yet, the first half of our review is spoiler free, and the second half spoiler filled.
Did you cut out the part where
I did.
spoiled the fuck out of?
Yes, I did.
I've been coming on this show for years, and I have never spoiled anything. And then in the middle of this review, we're just talking all willy nilly, and I just blurt out the spoileriest spoiler that the movie has to offer.
Yeah, he was like, man, and then when Falcon fights Thanos again, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you probably shouldn't just say that like that.
Yeah, that it was odd, right? Where like in the middle of the plot, like Thanos just showed up, and then him and Falcon had a quick fight.
Had a quick 1-on-1.
Yeah.
And then that's when the Red Hulk jumps in.
Yeah.
And so, no one saw that coming, but you spoiled that for them.
Live.
It has been interesting, right? Just looking back at the kind of the backlash this movie has been getting, and I've been kind of curious as to like, okay, what is people's problem with this movie? Obviously, there's just some people who don't want to see a black man be Captain America.
Right.
But I think that the other part of it is that I think a lot of people aren't particularly super frustrated with the movie. I think they're just frustrated with Marvel in general.
Right.
And they're taking it out on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, we talked at length. Go listen to the review about the issues that we had with the movie. And there were plenty, I'm not going to rehash them here, but my argument to anybody is not, oh, this is a top 10 MCU movie. But, like, I've seen articles online being like, it's the worst Marvel movie. Or, like, people putting it in the same category as, like, Quantumania.
Right.
And it's just not. Like, it is, honestly, it's kind of like, it's like if they made Ragnarok but serious, like
that's hard for people to imagine.
I know. I think there's a part of it that's like part of it with your general audiences, and especially this is with your movie critics, because like Rotten Tomatoes, for instance, it has a 50 from critics, but it has like an 80% from the audience.
Right.
And that's much more. The audience ranking is much more in line with kind of what we scored it. But if you look at it, a lot of the movie critics, they want a quip every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's why like a Guardians 2, did so well with them. And we're just like, what are you guys doing? Right. This is like the worst James Gunn anything I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's this argument that it is like awful, terrible, just a bad movie, kind of the worst of the worst in the MCU, or even in the same league as the worst of the worst, is just crazy. Like, you have to have some sort of agenda to arrive at that, right? Like, either, you don't want a black man as Captain America, or maybe it ain't even that. Maybe you just think that Sam Wilson shouldn't be Captain America. It doesn't have to be that.
Right.
I would have questions, but it don't have to be that.
Yeah.
I need some explanation. Or, it's just one of those things where, like, it's become cool to hate on the MCU, and that's fine. But, like, this movie is better than an Iron Man 3 to me all day long.
I mean, that bar is in hell.
Yeah, it is. But, like, you got to remember when that movie came out, there wasn't even a tenth of the backlash that this movie is getting.
Oh, yeah. Like, you had to be brave to stand out on your soapbox and announce that Iron Man 3 was trash when it first came out. Like,
yeah, because that shit came out right after Avengers. They could do no wrong.
Yeah.
They had the little star from Mario that makes you invulnerable.
Right.
They just picked that shit up. There was like dun 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 dun. And I was like, hey, that movie sucks ass. And they didn't even. My words just bounced right off Kevin Feige as he just sprinted through.
Yeah, he was like, I can't hear you over the 1.1 billion or whatever it made.
Yeah. He's like, I'm about to make another billion. Get the fuck out of my way. And another billion. And another billion.
But yeah, I'm with you on that, man, because I think that a lot of people are just frustrated with Marvel, and they're just trying to take all their vitriol out on Marvel right now. And I mean, we've had some good movies and some good projects since Endgame, but in terms of like a string of movies or shows that have collectively led up to something that felt monumental, we just haven't had that momentum.
Yeah.
And again, like no spoilers or anything, but you and I both walked away from Brave New World thinking we don't know where all the backlash is coming from. This movie is fine,
right?
And it's, again, like, it's not perfect. It definitely has some flaws that we talk about, but at the same time, this is so much better than probably 70 to 80% of what we had gotten since Endgame, in my opinion.
I had someone ask me if I thought it was better than Shang-Chi, and I was like, yes and no. Like, in some ways it is.
Right.
It doesn't have a third act that has a creature with a butt for a face. Trevor doesn't show up. There's also not a ginormous CGI fucking battle, which is good, because if there was anything in that battle that wasn't CGI, it would look terrible because of all the green screens. It does have the worst green screen effect I've seen since 1999.
It is.
Literally.
It is a pretty jarring green screen, and you have to wonder, like, what actual reshoots did take place. Probably has something to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, once again, like, just from a technical level, the movie is not super well done. It's not, it's not A tier. It's not A plus. It damn sure ain't S tier. But it ain't D tier either, you know. And I've that's really where my issue is. It's like people are just trying to shit on it and say like, oh, this is worse than Captain Marvel and all this other stuff. I heard a worse than Eternals. IGN, fuck you guys. They had it ranked as the worst MCU project.
And that's factually not true.
That's just like
it's objectively wrong.
Yeah, I mean, worst MCU project, like I said, it's not even in the discussion.
No.
That's where we start talking Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, that's right. There's 2 Ant-Man movies in this discussion. Love and Thunder, Eternals, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's when we're looking at like the bottom tier, burnt pizza crust trash section of Marvel material. But with Cap Brave New World, I think that we need to do a couple of things with that movie. Like, I think that maybe, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like, I would say at least until after Fantastic Four, because that's their 3rd movie this year.
Right.
We need to be patient and let them cook and see exactly what they're doing. Now, again, like, not going into spoilers, I don't particularly think that Brave New World does anything to set up anything for the larger MCU. They give some vague motions at the end of the movie that really don't mean anything. But,
yeah. Now, if someone goes, it has the worst after credit scene in the MCU, we can have that discussion. Yeah. I might be with you on that one, because it was trash. Like, it was like the last episode of House of the Dragon season 2, but just like 10 seconds long. Yeah. It's like we can't even give you a crumb of what's coming because we don't know. When we shot this, we had no idea. Right. And maybe they still don't know. I hope they do. I hope that the Russos have something wonderful cooked up for us.
It was such vague musing that it almost seemed like parody what they were doing there.
Yeah.
With the Cap 4 post-credit scene. It's like, ooh, just you wait. You have no idea what's going to happen. I was like, I don't think you do either. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, you definitely have no clue.
Does this put, because I still think that Thunderbolts is in a unique position where like it's just kind of it's still being presented as more of a buffer movie than more of something that is crucial to like the development of Phase 5. But does this put more pressure on Fantastic Four to be really good?
I don't know. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I don't think there could. I think Fantastic Four. I think the bottle's full. I think it's already at 100% pressure. Because as you guys are going to find out, unfortunately, over the next few months, we're going to review all 3 of the theatrical releases of Fantastic Four, even Fan Four Stick, and we're going to go through all of the misses. And hopefully throughout that process, we can outline what some of the hits could possibly be for this upcoming movie. I think, unfortunately, it doesn't just have Fantastic Four as a property resting on it, which, once again, like that, Fantastic Four and X-Men should be like the pillars of Phase 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 if they do it right. But, I mean, not only has that happened, but you're now also giving it the go-home spot for Avengers Doomsday. So there's that pressure added on it, too. I mean, I think the pressure's already maximum for it, regardless of if this movie had been a 10. You know, I don't think the pressure changes for Fantastic Four. And same with Thunderbolts. I think with Thunderbolts, obviously, they can't one and done the Sentry.
Yeah.
So I think the Sentry will have some significance in the MCU going forward. Obviously, Yelena and Bucky, we hope to see them for many, many years.
Right.
Everyone else, though,
it is more likely that we definitely see, if only one of them lives, it will probably be Yelena, just because she, like, you know, you can debate about like who's more popular between her and Bucky. I think it's probably still Bucky due to his like longevity and just the fact that people have attached to him so much. But she's definitely 1B, I think, in terms of popularity. But she is still very new in the role and still has a lot to offer. And like with Bucky, it got put into perspective for me a few days ago when I realized he first started playing James Buchanan Barnes when he was 28 years old, and he is now 42, still playing the role.
Yeah.
And he is one of the few holdouts from Phase 1 who is still doing the damn thing.
And he still looks like fucking Luke Skywalker. He looks more like Luke Skywalker than Mark Hamill has in 30 years. It's craziness.
Disney, they're getting sloppy with this this cloning that they have. You know, like they're just letting it slip now that they're just making fucking clones.
I saw an article the other day. I think it was also on IGN. This is the fuck you IGN edition.
Oh, I've been on this for years.
Yeah, but I mean this particular episode.
Okay.
So they were like, how is Bucky Barnes getting nominated for the Senate or whatever? I was like, he's 110 years old. He was compromised by Russia. He's committed countless atrocities. He basically wins by default. Like, how can he not win? It's what you should be asking.
It would be hilarious, you know, if if he were put in a position where he could run against Thunderbolt Ross for president.
Oh my God. Somebody also tried to tell me that they had Harrison Ford signed on through Secret Wars. I was like, I haven't heard that shit for one. For two, that's quite a gamble. He's 82.
Right. Yeah, I got this weird feeling that Marvel is moving differently about how they contract people for these movies.
Yeah.
Especially if you're at that kind of age.
I think the only people that they have under contract for like that amount of time is like Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland,
and is that technically
Anthony Mackie.
Is that technically Disney or Sony who he's contracted with?
I think it's both of them. I think it's some weird Party A, Party B, and Party C shit. Yeah, I think we talked about this last time, but like Tom Holland has like the next 2 years
all the way booked up.
Just booked. because we know that they're filming Doomsday this summer.
They have to, right?
Yeah, they have to. He's filming the Odyssey now. I think that started filming this week.
Do we know who's playing who in the Odyssey yet?
No, but it's like there's like 30 like superstars in it basically that are like A tier.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Pattinson, Zendaya.
Yep. I think Anne Hathaway is coming back for this one. Yeah. Michael Caine's not in it.
That we know of.
Yeah, I think Florence Pugh is coming back for it too. Yeah.
You know, there is something about when she works with Nolan that I just really enjoy.
Is there?
It's hard for me to put I wish I could put my hand on.
Maybe both of them?
Maybe both of them.
Yeah, you got two hands.
I do, yeah.
Okay, so confirmed. Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Matt Damon, John Bernthal, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, Zendaya, Mia Goth, Elliot Page, Lupita Nyong'o's in it. John Leguizamo, like
what is the fucking budget of this movie?
Well, you know, man, like fucking he just made $1 billion in an R-rated movie about nuclear physics.
Right.
Like the studios, they're just like, how much money you need for the movie? 800 million? Hold on, let me get my briefcase. Yeah. Like, oh, you got it on you? Like yeah, like you want to take it out of here like right now, right? Yeah. Sure.
All right. Yeah.
They don't ask him shit.
I mean, I can't blame them. The man's been putting out bangers for 20 years now.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask him nothing either. Not to mention, he just won Best Picture and Best Director. Mm-hmm. I mean,
he's earned it.
Yeah.
So Tom, he does have a really busy 24 months ahead of him. And man, I hope he's got that shit spaced out adequately so he can get some fucking rest.
I know. You know, because at least some Zendaya conjugal visits, if nothing else.
If nothing else, he'll be on set with her, I'm sure.
For two of those at least.
Yeah. You know, for Odyssey and Spider-Man 4.
Somebody was like, you know, the crazy thing about that is as soon as they get done with Secret Wars, they probably going to bring him right back in for 5.
Yeah. Because
it's not going to be too long.
Right.
Because you got to think, if Spider-Man 4 comes out, what we're thinking, 2026 or 27.
Yeah.
Either end of 26 or early 27.
Yep.
So then, I mean, it's not going to be, 29 probably when we get 5?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
Shit, last time we got like a Spider-Man movie and then like Avengers and then immediately got another Spider-Man movie.
You know, actually we got an Avengers movie, Spider-Man, then like less than 2 years later, another Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like the turnaround time on that.
Yeah.
That shit was nuts.
But it's interesting that they aren't filming Doomsday and Secret Wars together.
Because at first they were, right?
Yeah, and that's how they filmed Infinity War and Endgame. So it really, you know, from that we can just kind of guess that those two movies are going to be a little bit less part 1 and part 2 than Infinity War and Endgame were. But I do think they'll be closely related, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's so interesting seeing where MCU is right now because we are not that far away in the grand scheme of things from so many of their big releases or whatnot. But at the same time, it's weird because we know so little.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, when we were 18 months away from Infinity War, we knew, all right, we got Thanos and we know what he's gonna try to do. We know what his plans are gonna be. And we know that we're building towards that. Where we are right now, I mean, I can tell you the movies that are coming out.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you anything about Avengers Doomsday.
What if, like, the end of, like, the first episode of Born Again, they got Punisher in custody. And, like, they go sit him in a room. They're like, the big guy wants to talk to you. And you're like, fuck. It's gonna be Kingpin, but it's like Doctor Doom, like straight up.
I thought you were gonna say Galactus.
Well, I don't think Galactus want to talk to him. I don't think him and Frank Castle got very much to talk about.
That's true.
Galactus is gonna be like, I'm gonna eat your planet, and then like Frank Castle's gonna shoot him with like a grenade launcher, and then Galactus is gonna eat the planet.
That sounds accurate.
I can save you that $21.
I know. I want to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh shit.
Now that we've gone on about Marvel for 20 minutes as a cold open.
That's right. They're in an interesting position right now. You know, it's post Cap 4. The internet is interneting, so we had to do our due diligence. But with that being said, homies one and all, we would like to welcome you back to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with the world's most incredible co-host. I'm talking about none other than the homie Caleb.
Well, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to another episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about something near and dear to our hearts, as we usually are, but this time, it's something that we actually like. I think we haven't talked extensively about it off mic. We tend to try not to do that, but I know that I liked it. Today, we're going to be talking about Invincible Season 3, Part 1, which is going to be episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's right. We got 4 episodes of Invincible to talk about, and I almost feel like Amazon is trying to make up for how they did us dirty for like seasons 2 and 3, like with the timing of them.
Yeah.
Because as we were talking about before we turned on the mics, these episodes are damn near an hour each.
Yeah.
You know, 51 minutes, 49 minutes, 48 minutes. Like, they are long, beefy episodes.
I got to say that, I don't... Is Kirkman the showrunner also for this?
I don't know.
I don't know who's, like, storyboarding all this out, but, like, whoever's doing it is doing a hell of a job.
It's a lot to keep up with. Like, when you consider that, like, the entire comic book run of Invincible, I think, is 144 issues. That's a lot. And, like, if you have... I have the entire run on my shelf. It takes up the whole shelf. It's a lot of Invincible going on there.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, even when season 1 came out, there'd be times where I look at Kevin and I'd be like, hey, man, so did this happen in the show or in the comic books? Because I'm fucking getting this shit mixed up. But it goes to show, like, just how closely they try to associate the show with the comics and how good the show is. You know, so it really speaks highly of it. I'll go ahead and say, man, I really, really enjoyed these first 4 episodes of Invincible. I like where they're going. Part of me wants to go back and, like, reread this section of the comic books, but part of me just wants to wait and try to get that shock feel back again, you know?
Let them cook.
Let them cook. What you think about the season so far?
Well, before we go too much further, I do want to point out here, full spoilers. For episodes 1 through 4 of season 3 of Invincible. So if you have not watched those yet and you care about spoilers, now is the time to fuck right off. If you just came here for the Marvel Cold Open, it's over. That's a weird thing, but I mean, we ain't mad at it.
That's right.
The ad's still going to play. So what did I think? I think that whoever's putting this together from a plot perspective is absolutely firing on all cylinders, because you have all these different villains that have been introduced previously, so we don't have to do that again. Mm-hmm. And it's like they're weaving them in and out of the plot to where it feels fresh. Sometimes if there's a complaint, I'd say it's probably that sometimes the pacing is maybe a little too much. To where it's just like, man, what happened in episode 1? Is that... Oh, no, like, these 31 different things happened. Okay. Yep. And we talked about that a little bit. It doesn't bother me. I do think that, like, your more casual audience member might get a little lost in the shuffle and be a little confused. I don't know if that's even something that they care about. It's not my problem. Like, obviously the show's making enough money for Amazon to keep renewing it. So keep doing what you're doing. I really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. I think this show's strong suit has always been the A-list cast, and I don't think that changed any this season.
Yeah, the cast is tremendous, and even the new people they brought on, like Simu Liu,
Yeah.
and man, I can never pronounce this guy's last name. I feel so bad. Blue Beetle, Zolo.
Yeah.
I mean, they both deliver what I think are really, really good performances.
Yeah.
And we get Bokeem Woodbine in like the Cecil flashback episodes, who plays the former director of the GDA, I think it is.
Yeah. I loved all the Cecil backstory stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's my favorite character.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why.
And I am 100,000,000% Team Cecil in this season.
Oh wow. Okay. We were gonna. I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, man. So in anime and also in superhero stuff in general, I typically tend to not like the main character, like the main character. Mm-hmm. For example, in like Batman stuff, like I like Batman. Don't get me wrong. I'm never like, man, fuck Bruce Wayne. But I'm a huge Dick Grayson fan. In Dragon Ball, I'm a huge Vegeta and Trunks fan. I don't really care for Goku. Especially not the American version where he's just Superman. I don't care for Superman. I'm much more of a Supergirl fan. So I was wondering at what point that would start to happen for me in this show, because I have been a big fan of Mark pretty much this whole time. But here we are.
It's interesting that you point out like the characters that interest you in these different properties. Because I think, am I the guy who always likes the main characters? In a lot of these, I am that guy, Yeah. Like, I'm the main character guy, or the guy who likes the main characters. That's well better put. Maybe except for the Goku situation. I don't know. He's a mixed bag for me. But here, it's interesting, right? Because, like, the dichotomy between Mark and Cecil is very interesting. And what we have here is a situation where I feel that in their own ways, both Mark and Cecil are being turned all the way up in terms of their personality.
Yeah.
Like, they both feel threatened, and so they are both acting like to the utmost version of themselves. And that's causing the divide to become even bigger between those two. And so, like, Mark, he's maybe doing some things that would worry the viewers even, and Cecil is kind of doing some things as a result that people who were on the fence about him are probably thinking, I knew you couldn't trust that motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And so it is very interesting, right? And in a lot of cases with stories, especially with superhero stories, it has changed some over the years as the stories have become more complex. But typically, like with traditional superhero stories, it's so black and white, good guy versus bad guy, and you figure out a way to stop the bad guy, and then you win the day. Whereas here, you have two people who have the same goals, but have completely different ways of achieving that objective. And because they're so different, they're having a hard time overcoming those moral differences to get there.
I don't know if they have the same goal anymore.
Well, I think their goals are still both to protect the Earth from like the impending doom.
Yeah, but I think at this point in time, Mark gives me the impression that protecting his mom, Oliver, and Eve is a much higher priority to him than the rest of the Earth. Like, I think that he places them over humanity as a whole.
See, I don't think he does that. I think right now he feels that they are in danger because of Cecil.
Yeah.
And so, if the Viltrumites were to show up tomorrow in the Invincible universe, he's obviously going to fight them.
Right.
But as it stands, the Viltrumites are not here yet, but Cecil is. And he doesn't trust that motherfucker. And he knows that he has his brother and his mother who can be compromised. And so I think that he's just trying to protect them, because if anyone is in danger from Cecil right now, it is not only Mark, but his family.
Yeah, I mean, And he's escalating it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like the only way you can control Mark would be the easiest way to do it would be to imprison his mom somewhere that he can't get to him. And then you have the threat, right? You have
to hope that works, though.
you have to hope that Mark doesn't just decide to kill you, you know, and that he doesn't find out where she is and like break her out, because as soon as he does, you're dead.
Oh yeah.
Because at this point, I mean, we have a Superman, but we have no Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Unless that's what Angstrom is, you know. And
Was.
well, I don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean.
I don't think it's a was. We'll have to get into that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's like the amazing line that was dropped during the Cecil backstory. You can be the guy that protects the planet, or you can be a good guy, but you can't be both.
Yeah, you can be the good guy or the guy who saves the world.
Yeah, but you can't be both.
Can't be both.
And it's interesting how well that.
Do you
sentence,
think that's true?
It's interesting how well that sentence at this point in time describes both of them, right? I think Mark has completely fucking lost it at this point. I think he does not realize how much everything has compounded on him. The situation with his father, the weight of the planet being put on him, all the stuff going on with Cecil. He can't control anything in his life, right? He has all that power and can't control anything. His mother is seeing this guy that he knows nothing about. He told the dude about Mark and Omni-Man and all that without even talking to Mark about it.
Yeah.
His little brother is a fucking psychopath. You know, Cecil has essentially turned on him. The Guardians of the Globe have split in half, and it's kind of his fault. Pretty much the only thing that's going right in his life in any way, shape, or form is Eve.
Yeah.
And all the other things that I mentioned keep interfering with that. So I think he's just kind of being crushed emotionally from every possible direction. And I think that's really fucking with him at this point. And I think it's making him overly paranoid, and honestly a little reckless. He doesn't realize how dangerous he is.
Yeah, so he's gotten immensely stronger since his fight with Anissa last season.
Yeah, I think he would fuck her up right now.
He might. But she's strong.
Yeah.
Which, I can't wait to get into that. Like, there are still some very pivotal moments that I remember clearly from the comics, and one of those has got to happen in the back half of the season. But, I think that with Mark, you're right. He does have the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he chose to squat with it,
Yeah.
But I think that his paranoia, I think is to a degree understandable. When you're dealing with someone like Cecil, I think you probably should be paranoid. Like, Mark has seen what this guy does, and the thing about Cecil, right, is that where will he draw the line at? And Cecil, this whole Mark and Cecil dynamic, for me, it really is kind of a Marvel Comics Civil War type deal where it's a battle of ideologies.
Right.
Like, is it about, in the Civil War, obviously, it was more about freedoms versus protecting the people and how much of one do you sacrifice for the other. Whereas here, it's more of an idea of, what's the best way to keep the world safe, and are we willing to sacrifice some morals to do so? And if so, is that a slippery slope? Well, I think that maybe some of this could have potentially been smoothed over had Cecil been maybe upfront or honest with Mark, because at this point, Cecil probably should have known that Mark would react not well to D.A. Sinclair's Reaniman, still being utilized, and working with people like Darkwing 2, not 1. So he probably should have known that Mark would not react well to those things. But I think that maybe if he had a conversation with Mark and said, hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Mark. As long as you're honest with me, I'm honest with you. I have these things in the tuck in case shit goes sideways.
Right.
Don't give me a reason to use them or for shit to go sideways, or I will.
Yeah.
But I really love the way that both characters been written right now because they're both, I think, acting in their extremes. And when you look at Cecil, I mean, when he was young, he kind of had the same viewpoints as Mark, but maybe even more extreme.
Yeah, and he had those beaten out of him, sometimes literally.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, I think with both of these men, I think a lot of their trust issues, their paranoia, it all comes back to Nolan. Mm-hmm. You know, for Cecil, they were under the impression that Nolan was like their great protector.
Yep.
So he's not about to blindly walk into, another Viltrumite that's here for all the right reasons.
The son of the one that almost destroyed Earth.
Yeah, exactly. And then for Mark, it's the same way, right? Where it's like, I couldn't trust my own father. Mm-hmm. I definitely can't trust this seedy motherfucker.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're right. They both have everybody's best interest, I think, at heart as far as like protecting the planet, especially from the Viltrumites. But it is hard to see any sort of reconciliation on the horizon anytime soon.
Yeah.
For both of them, because they both think they're right. I think to a degree they both are. Me personally, Team Cecil. Some of Mark's bullshit has really gotten to me this season. I'm just like, yo, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, especially with things as tense as they are right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Situations are tense as fuck right now.
Yeah.
And I don't really know the way they come to a peaceful resolution here. And this isn't even me spoiling anything. This is just me theorizing right now as a fan of the show, right? The only way they come to a resolution is the Viltrumites attack.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a great other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then it's going to be all hands on deck. But, so we can start things off here talking a little bit about these episodes kind of in more details here.
Yeah.
So episode 1, You're Not Laughing Now. By the way, I think all of the episode names are like direct quotes from the comic books.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I really like...
I Thought You'd Be Stronger.
Yeah. I mean, that one is probably the best one, right? Mm-hmm. The ramifications of that moment are incredible. That was just such a powerful moment.
Oh, yeah.
But we get back to Angstrom in a second.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we can kind of start there now, looking back at the recap, seeing how things ended with season 2.
Yeah, because at the end of season 2, we have Angstrom in the fight with Mark. Angstrom had taken him through all kind of different timelines. Mm-hmm. Basically, like if you beat me, you'll still be stranded in time.
Yeah.
You still won't be here with your family. The thing you've taken from so many people you'll never have. Fortunately for him, it might take them 20 years, but the Guardians of the Globe found Mark. I think future Earth is probably not a great place to be.
Why is future Earth almost never a great place to be?
Yeah. It'd be interesting just one time if, like, shit could be bad and, like, some people from the future could show up and be like, oh, yeah, everything's great. Like, yeah, I mean, we, like, got rid of the AI and all that shit. Like, everything's fine.
Right. Yeah, we wiped out fucking big banks and evil corporations.
Yeah, I mean, everything's awesome.
Yeah.
There's only like one game console now. Like Sony and Microsoft agreed to like work together.
Yeah, the X-Station 4 is about to come out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's got like a quantum neuron processor.
Right.
It just beams the shit directly into your brain.
What's the name of that fucking game in Rick and Morty where Morty lived the life as like a normal dude and then he died?
Oh, it's called like Jeff or something like that,
something
right?
Random like that, yeah.
Or it's just some random name,
Yeah, he lived a whole fucking life as somebody else in a fucking VR headset basically,
Yeah.
and was disoriented as fuck when his character died, and they were like, "Oh man, you made it all the way here.
Yeah, he was like, what the fuck?
You beat the cancer and everything."
Yeah, I was here for 100 or something.
Yeah, and Morty was like, "I had a family."
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, I imagine that the X Station 4 would be something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't want to play no Kingdom Come Deliverance.
No, that would be terrible. Holy shit, that'd be awful.
Like, oh, I got diarrhea, I died.
Yeah. Like, bro, I got stabbed to death.
Yeah, yeah. You just come out of there like, oh, I got eaten by wolves. I died of dysentery.
Holy shit. How did we get here? Oh, yeah, Future Earth.
Future Earth. Future Earth is always a terrible place.
Yeah.
And it seems like here is no different. So the Guardians of the Globe came and got him back. He's back in his normal timeline now. He had the pivotal moment with Future Eve.
Yep.
Where she was like, look, you need to talk to my like present day self for you and either move on or pop the question. Because apparently they did a will they won't they for 20 years.
That's a long time to yo-yo. Like
Right.
that.
Unless you're on a soap opera, that's a long fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is also not just the future version of the Guardians. Isn't this also an alternate universe?
You kind of get that a little bit, right? Like the Declaration of Independence, the Nicolas Cage guys. That shit was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
They seem to have an alternate universe, right? Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, because their shit's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Again, they come from a future.
Yeah.
Future Trunks, his future's all fucked.
Yeah.
There's just no Terminator, their future's fucked. There's just no good futures.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I was going to say Future Trunks' future actually was okay for a little while, and then the Zamasu shit happened.
Yeah, like it was shit, and then it was okay.
Okay for a while.
We're getting back to baseline, and then it was shit.
And then, like, it was so bad, like, they had to delete it.
Oh, well, sometimes you got to start over, you know. I know we talked about this a little bit back when we reviewed season 2, but what effects do you think him seemingly killing Angstrom Levy had on Mark?
I think the two largest ones, number one, he's very conscious of the fact that he can be taking a life or not. I think that's the one that we see in the forefront. I think, though, just behind that, I think we also have the notion that he is now a killer. Mm-hmm. And I think morally, it's very hard for, like, obviously the D.H. Sinclair stuff is different because that motherfucker's a psychopath.
Yeah.
And he fucked up a lot of people, like, just because it was fun to him. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, you have, like, Darkwing, and you got to ask yourself, has Darkwing done worse things than Mark at this point? I don't know.
I think Darkwing is more along the lines of like a Frank Castle.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that Mark is like along the lines of a Captain America, you know, but hell, Cap has killed people.
No. When he hits when the super powered strongest human being on the planet alive hits you with the shield made out of the hardest thing that they possibly can possess at like 70 miles per hour. Yep. It's like there's like a little magical barrier on the edge of the made by the vibranium.
Oh, is it?
And so it just kind of pushes you back.
Oh, okay, okay. So it doesn't shatter your ribs and your sternum and collapse your lungs.
No, that sound is the vibranium activating the barrier.
Oh.
See, that's not the shield bouncing off your sternum.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild, because, like, they never get up.
Yeah. Well, well, like, would you? I mean, you know, Cap's going to beat the shit out of you. See?
You know, I'm going to have to go back and look at the footage on that.
It's kind of like how, you know, in Star Wars, like Darth Vader just thinks he can choke people to death with his mind, and like they all just play along with it because if they didn't, he would just kill him with his lightsaber.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. So they didn't tell Cap that the shield does this, and if he ever figured it out, then he would just start beating them with his superpowered arms.
Yeah. It's funny, right? In the first Captain America movie, the first Avenger, we see him straight up use a gun, and he's pew-pewing motherfuckers. He's shooting the shit out of people. But I guess they're like, well, it was war, and they're Nazis, it's fine. But he never goes back to using guns.
It's only okay to shoot Nazis.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fine,
If there's only one type of person you can shoot, then why not?
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, I wasn't trying to compare Mark so much to Captain America. But
Right.
I was looking at, like, the relationship between, like, Steve Rogers and Frank Castle. And it's not good. Frank adores Steve. He's the hero of his.
Yeah.
But Steve is like, he's a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing here, where it's like, I think that Darkwing respects Mark, but Mark is like, no, he's fucking crazy. Like, he's killed just so many people. And I think maybe the difference is that, like, Darkwing killed those people on purpose, and several of them that we can assume.
Yeah.
Now, does that necessarily mean that he isn't fit for a superhero team? I think that underneath Cecil's tutelage, he can keep him on a leash, But Mark's not going to see it that way. Same thing with the Reaniman. You have to. The Reaniman, I think, are maybe possibly even more like morally ambiguous. Like, what do you do with fucking android zombies? Those are still people's corpses that are being utilized.
But, in terms of the Mark and Cecil conflict, it's like, as soon as Mark finds out about these things, he immediately proceeds to explain exactly why Cecil needs them. Like, because what are you going to do if Mark goes off the fucking rails?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly you're not going to send Reaniman.
Yeah, he murders the fuck out of those guys. And has no problem doing it. They're dead already.
Yeah, they're already dead. That's different.
Better call up old Alan the alien.
Yeah. And that's going to be another problem, too.
Who do you think, I know we hate these, but who do you think would win right now out of Alan and Mark?
Oh, man. It's difficult right now because we don't really see Alan go all out when he fights the Viltrumites.
I don't think we've seen either of them really go all out.
Well, not currently.
Right, yeah, like at Mark's current power level.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
We can only assume he was going all out against Nolan in season 1.
Yeah, now's not the time to hold back, Mark.
Yeah, no.
He didn't hold back against Anissa either.
Yeah.
I think that that's tough, man. It's close. It is fucking close. I might, at this current moment, give the edge to Mark. I was gonna say Alan, but I think I might give the edge to Mark.
I think Mark is more durable. I think he can take more punishment than Alan. I think the strength levels, like strength and speed, might be similar. But I mean, a Viltrumite could take a fucking beating.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every single one of them is descended from 50 Cent.
Yeah.
It's not obvious visually, but...
Yeah. Yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so this episode, it does start with Cecil overseeing Mark's training. And Mark, he has just increased by all metrics: strength, speed, durability. Like, I remember them specifically saying that Mark's strength had increased by like 138%.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. Crazy. And so by all metrics, he had improved. Here is what's interesting, and I think maybe some people overlook this line. I think those who read the comics may be caught on to this one, but there's a conversation early on between Cecil and Donald where they're talking about Mark's strength level, and I think it's Cecil who says, is he strong enough to beat that Viltrumite woman, Anissa? And I think Donald says something along the lines of, He might be able to. We're not sure, but she also spoke of them sending another,
Yeah.
and it's that other who is insane. I mean, it's nuts. Like I'm talking. For me, he's like Battle Beast levels of scary.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't wait for him to make his appearance.
Well, skipping around a bit here, but we did get that crazy reveal from Nolan that like there's only like 50. Pure-blooded Viltrumites.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because, like, they're not supposed to mate outside their species or whatever. It seems to be like a Mistborn type thing where it's like, oh, yeah, that's the rules, but no one cares.
Yeah. But it's like, man, if there's only 50 of you guys left, you don't have much of a choice.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, you got to do something. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, they still got an empire.
Yeah.
And, like, 50 Viltrumites is like 50 more than they need.
Yeah. That's true.
Because I mean, shit, those guards at that prison are probably stronger than most of the Guardians.
Oh, all of the Guardians.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
It really is like a Saiyan saga type thing, you know, where like you look at all of the Earth's heroes besides Goku, and it's like, which one of them at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z could beat Raditz?
Yeah.
Probably none of them.
Yeah.
You know?
And he was like the weakest of the weakest of the weakest.
It's kind of the same thing here, I think. Like, you look at those Viltrumite guards. Hell, I mean, it seemed like maybe they were on par with Omni-Man, you know? It's hard to say because Omni-Man took an ass whooping for a while.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I wouldn't say they're on par with Omni-Man the way that Alan was just wrecking them. I think they're a little beneath him.
Did Alan really wreck them though? It's like he was running the fair one with one of them. Battle Beast was fighting the other, and then Nolan.
Oh, you talking about the Viltrumites?
Yeah,
I'm talking about like the regular guards.
Those guys.
Yeah, those guys. Not the executioners.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, those guys are fucking Cybermen, you know.
I don't know, man. I think they still were pretty strong, like just not compared to like Battle Beast and Nolan and Alan.
Yeah, because Battle Beast was not having a good time with them. You know,
no,
like this shit is boring, dog.
Yeah, he was like, "There is no threat to me here other than you," and he was like, "Wait a minute." I will say too that I typically hate Seth Rogen in any voice acting capacity, but Alan the Alien is an exception. Mm-hmm. I think it's just because his character is so Seth Rogen like.
It is right, so ridiculous
that it just works out. Yeah.
Well, like, what do you do with a character like this? Holy shit. But yeah, so Mark, he's training, getting stronger. He's having his Rocky Balboa montage, you know.
He's getting skronk.
Fast forwarding here, Mark and Rex, they attempt to stop Dropkick and Fight Master. I love those goddamn names.
Right.
Dropkick and Fight Master, at this point in the show, we don't really know who they are, but they're still in the Declaration of Independence.
That shit was so funny.
Right. And they are voiced by Zolo. You guys, I'm sure, probably seen him from either Cobra Kai or the Blue Beetle movie, and he's getting ready to do something else. But yeah, he's voicing Dropkick and Fight Master. And you can say that they fight each other, but it's not really that much of a fight. Rex just demolishes, I think, Dropkick, and then Fight Master tries to fight Mark, and Mark's having a whole conversation with Rex.
It's bad when like Rex Splode is done with his enemy first.
Right.
And Rex is just like, hey man, just so you know, like I've been chilling over here for a minute. You want to take care of this? But you know, Mark's trying not to kill them.
Yeah, because like you got to kind of gauge like how much do I need to apply to just stop him? You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how tough these guys are.
Yeah. And then Multi-Paul shows up. And have we seen him in the show yet? This is his first appearance.
I think this is the first time we ever seen Multi-Paul because I was like, the fuck?
Who was being voiced by Simu Liu, none other than Shang-Chi himself.
I just want to say that Duplicate is a good like play on words. It's pretty fun, but they just gave up with Multi-Paul.
You think so? Yeah. You think Robert Kirkman was like, well, she's got a brother and he's got the same fucking.
I can't come up with another.
What's the play on like? Multiply.
Bunch of Joes. I don't know.
Multi-Paul?
Sure.
I'll go with that. Multi-Paul.
That's close to multiply. There's an L in it.
Or multiple, you know?
Yeah. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Is multiple. Multiple. But they don't say it that way in the show. No. They call it multi-Paul. Like you could have just slapped multi in front of anything.
Yeah. Multi-Joe.
Yeah. Multi-Isaiah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Multi-Jebediah.
Here's what's funny about this scene is that Multi-Paul multiplies himself and begins to beat the ever-living dog shit out of Rexplode. And when you watch it, it goes on for a while.
And Mark is chilling.
Yeah, I'm like, Mark is right there.
Yeah, Mark's like, hey, I don't really agree with this scenario right here. Do you guys want to? No, you don't? Well, it is just Rex. Maybe I should do something. He lets this shit go on, bro.
Yeah. I was like, is Mark going to step in? Because Rex is always getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, it should be like attacking a guardian is like instant action, right? And like he knows how he'd be really funny if like he thinks that multi-Paul's powers are just like duplicate, and he just like starts killing them, and then it turns out that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, come to find out, Kate just had a bunch of brothers.
Yeah. They're all like individual personalities. It's just like a clown car type situation.
That would be hilarious.
He just killed 31 through 75.
Oh, man. But eventually, Immortal and Duplicate do arrive, and then the violence de-escalates. This is the first time that anyone else has seen Duplicate alive. Us as the viewers saw her survive at the end of season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think just Cecil knew, right?
Yeah, Cecil and Immortal, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she is in fact still alive, and the things get interesting, like between her and Immortal and their whole standpoint. But what you think of Multi-Paul here in his appearance?
First off, I want a director's cut that adds like 30 minutes to each episode, and it's just they just quick cut to, or they could even do like a little picture-in-picture thing to Donald, giving Cecil his like commentary. Donald be like, "Sir, it seems that Immortal and Duplicate were still alive." I fucking know, Donald.
I know that, Donald. Yeah. That's Donald's greatest power, man.
I love that shit where he just says like some shit that's completely obvious to Cecil.
Oh yeah,
and Cecil's just like, "Bruh."
Yeah, it's like the Viltrumites could show up tomorrow and stomp Mark's dick in the dirt, and Donald will be watching the same screen as Cecil.
He'd be like, "Sir, the Viltrumites are back."
I fucking know that, Donald.
He just pulls out a gun and shoots him. He's like, "Rebuild him. Go ahead.
Go ahead and give me number 39 or whatever."
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I said this every season that we've done a review for Invincible. I'm going to say it again here. Why does Donald look so much like adult Bobby Hill?
He really does. He's drawn exactly like him. I thought Multi-Paul was interesting. I don't think he's going to have a huge effect on the story.
I don't think so.
Obviously, he does come back up a little bit later. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But at the end of the day, I mean, he fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. And he is going to prison for what he did. So.
Yep. You have to wonder if he do the same thing as like Duplicate and leave like one of himself away from everyone else, you know?
Probably.
That'd be the smart thing.
Also, while all this was going on, these motherfuckers got away with the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, man. The legendary drop kick and fight master got away with the Declaration of Independence. That's a wild sentence to say.
Yeah. Yeah. The creativity there was on the same level as Multi-Paul's.
Kirkman was like, I just need some superhero names. Fucking.
This me like prepping for a like D&D session like last minute. Be like, what's the sword's name? Ralph.
Ralph's name was carefully crafted and thought up over the course of many weeks on end. I know.
Yeah,
of course. Let's go over to Oliver now. He's getting older because he's half bug people. He will age more rapidly until more of his Viltrumite genes take over, and then he will just thankfully begin to age like a normal human / Viltrumite.
Yeah.
But Oliver really wants to be a superhero alongside his idol and his big brother, Mark. If I had to guess, I'd say Oliver right now is probably like a preteen, 11 or 12 years old, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
What do you think about Oliver at this point?
I think he's a fucking psychopath. Oliver's got school shooter vibes.
A little bit.
I wasn't quite sure what I was going to think about him. Mm-hmm. And now I am pretty sure. And I'm like, he gives me Ryan from The Boys vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Or that kid from Brightburn. Yeah. It's kind of in between those two where it's just like, he acts all innocent and shit. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Especially when the tide turned for me on Oliver, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, when the Mauler twins showed up, and I was like, fuck yeah. Now, I don't know if I like the Mauler twins or if I just like Run the Jewels. But every time the Mauler twins show up, I'm like, fuck yeah, the Mauler twins. And I was like, man, I ain't seen the Maulers in a minute. And I was like, it's good to have some Run the Jewels back on. And about the time I had finished having that thought, he motherfucking murdered both of them. Now, while that shit was hilarious to an extent, especially when he just ran through one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one was just like, the fuck? Like, I surrender. I'm sorry. Yeah, he straight murdered them. Mm-hmm. In cold blood. The kid is a fucking menace. It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a real big problem, right? And I don't want to put the thoughts out there into anyone's head, and also don't think of this as any kind of spoiler, but you have to wonder, as Oliver gets older, with his current mindset and ideology, who would he side with? Would he side with Mark and the humans, or would he side with more of his Viltrumite side? You kind of have to wonder that about kids like him.
I think it's honestly even worse. Yeah, I mean, he's gone full Red Hood already.
Yeah. Like, Jason Todd at least died first.
Yeah, he's like, but I killed the bad people, and now they can't hurt anyone anymore.
Yeah. He's got zero regard, really, for human life outside of, like, his mom.
Yeah, and Mark, I guess. Mm-hmm. Mark's only half human.
Right.
But, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, what are we doing here? Because, like, Mark is not insistent on his brother being imprisoned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are right.
Hypocrite Mark. This is why I'm Team Cecil all the way.
Oh, yeah, because Cecil's not a hypocrite. He didn't say some shit and then do something completely different.
Well, that's alleged. Can't believe everything you see on the internet these days.
Yeah, Oliver, man, he's got some shit to work through, and this is one of those cases where, like, he definitely should be monitored by Cecil.
Yeah.
I understand Debbie wanting him to have, like, a more human experience. So, like, the nanny that she has or the tutor or whatever, she works really well with Oliver, but why not have both her and Cecil? Because somebody's going to need to... And I understand, right? Like, if I was Debbie, I probably wouldn't trust Cecil with my child either. Even though that's technically not her child, but you get the idea.
Yeah. how long before that nanny tells him he can't go outside or whatever, and he just kills her?
Okay, that's when we know that he's gone full fucking like irredeemable psychopath. Like, we can't fix this.
He didn't know a fucking thing about the Mahler twins.
He knew they were bad people.
He knew they were bad people. Okay, but not Nazis.
Yeah. He didn't know a goddamn thing about the Maulers. So he
Nope.
just
Kilt. Kilt. Kilt.
Yep.
Yeah. This whole thing, man, like, you just look at it and you're like, this. I mean, I guess maybe with his mom's tutelage, he could begin to turn out more like Mark. But as we've been discussing, I got some serious problems with where Mark is at with this whole thing right now. And yeah, I mean, if I'm Cecil, like when Alan was talking to Nolan and he's like, yeah, just go ahead and join us and we'll have a potential 3 Viltrumites to fight him with. I was like, dog, you are really counting your chickens before they hatch. I don't know if you got 3. I think with Nolan, you have maybe 2. I don't know who Oliver is going to be siding with in this whole thing.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to see where Oliver ends up going because he is in an interesting spot right now. Mark asks out Adam Eve, and then she says yes, very excitedly. And then Mark,
by the way,
he's like, I'm so glad you said yes because I didn't want to leave you hanging. And she was like, what you mean? You asked me out. He's like, oh, it's nothing really, but the future you was all desperate and whatnot. And he just put his whole fucking foot in his mouth explaining how his future self wanted Mark to either tell her how he failed or let her off the hook. And I mean, for obvious reasons, Eve felt the way about that.
Like, he's like, yeah, I met the future you. She got like 90 cats. She had 2 different Starbucks drinks. Pussy was so dry, I asked if she married Ben Shapiro. Like, and then she was like, yeah, by the way, don't leave my younger self hanging. So that's why I asked you out. Anyway, where you want to go on the first date?
Fucking hell, man. Goddamn. They're interrupted by the big Doc Seismic fight. This premiere episode ends with that big fight. Doc Seismic, who, in retrospect, he's always been formidable, but like, no one just really took him seriously. But now,
yeah,
not only is he formidable, but when Eve and Mark show up, he captures them too. So he's got like the Guardians of the Globe captured, and including Mark and Eve. He's winning until the Reaniman and Darkwing 2 show up. And they really turn the tide and they free the Guardians and they're able to stop Doc Seismic. And it's a brutal fucking fight with these giant ass tremors or whatever they are,
And if Cecil had not been doing the things that Cecil did, that's the end of the show, folks. Like, it ends right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be it. So, because Cecil had those Reaniman, the day is saved. And obviously Mark has a problem with that. And so Mark, he goes and confronts Cecil. And Cecil, they're walking and talking. And Cecil takes him in this fucking room. And, Mark is still arguing his case. And then he's like, where the fuck are we, Cecil? And Cecil hits a switch. Does a bunch of Reanimen around him. And dun, dun, dun. That's kind of where the episode ends, is Cecil saying that he has basically sworn to protect people from threats. And Mark was like, what kind of threats? And Cecil was like, you, motherfucker.
Right.
And we do get a post-credit scene of Alan planning the prison break with Omni-Man, or trying to get Omni-Man on board with the prison break.
And that's kind of how the flow of these episodes really is this season. Is like, we get an episode and then we get to spend some time, various amounts of time, with Alan and Nolan. This past episode, we got a lot.
Bro, yeah, because like, I remember looking at the time for episode 4, and it was like 49 minutes or something like that. But around like the 35-minute mark, credits started to roll, and I was like, "The fuck!"
Yeah.
And then we go to the Alan and Omni-Man show.
Yeah.
For the rest of it,
which was dope.
Yeah, hell yeah. Strong first episode though. I thought that this was a great way to kick off the Mark and Cecil plot line.
It kind of had everything that you want, right? Like, we got a big fight with a major villain that's pre-established. We got our character arcs picking back up, all cylinders firing. We get to check in with most of the major players. Just all around solid first episode to come back to a season with.
Yeah. Also, Shrinking Ray is back. She's no longer comatose.
Yeah.
It seems like they're doing something with her and Rex. It's hard to tell right now.
Did she get fucked up in the Lizard Society fight or whatever?
Because she shrunk down, and I forget exactly what she did, but she got super fucked up. Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time a villain shows up now, my brain does like a run as Seth Rollins.
Every time they're associated with like lizards or snakes.
No, it's just in general. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, even when like Doc Seismic was doing it or whatever, he's like, "I've been talking to them Invincible. You're not laughing at me now."
Yeah, Invincible. I told you that I'd get the upper hand.
I don't know how long this is gonna last, but it's gonna be a bit for a while.
I apologize, Seth. If you see this, no harm meant.
I was also not to sidetrack us here, but I have to mention this. In my like looking at random shitty articles about Brave New World on the internet, which there's a plethora of. Yeah. One of them was like talking about Sam Wilson, like where Ross asked him to reform the Avengers. Not a spoiler, it was in the trailers. And I was like, man, we could have rolled credits right then, because if I was Sam, I'd have been like, how about you call motherfucking John Walker and see what kind of Avengers he puts together? And I just walk out.
And then we like roll credits, and then roll credits again, we get Thunderbolts.
Yeah. So I called him.
And this is what we
This is what we got.
And he was kind enough to name them after me.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Sam's just at home. He does the like Vegeta watching TV shit. He's just like, motherfucker.
And then he sees them fighting the Sentry, and he's like, I ain't even gonna help.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, well, I told him who to call. I don't know if like the OG Avengers want to fight the fucking Sentry.
I don't think so, man. No. I mean, like, what you do is you send Thor out there. He's gonna get his ass whooped, but he'll live for a while.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you're Tony, you figure out some kind of MacGuffin that can get rid of him.
Yeah. Well, I would send the Hulk first. And let them fuck around for a while. And then, like, when the Hulk gets rocked, then you send Thor. And then, like, by then, Tony will them be done worried out some shit where you can, like, teleport him somewhere else. Or
right. And hope you don't come back.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is titled A Deal with the Devil. This was maybe my favorite episode so far.
They just came right out the gate. Like, this episode is basically like Mark versus Cecil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're playing some chess here.
Is this the episode where they go see Art and get the suit? The new suits?
I think that's episode 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah. This episode is like, I would say, maybe not the first half, but the first 15, 20 minutes is the Cecil flashback.
So good.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this for a while.
Right.
It's always risky, right, with such a mysterious character, for you to go and like show their origin or whatever. But honestly, with this, I mean, it just showed his humanity.
Yeah.
As we're used to seeing Cecil as this kind of, hardened, bureaucratic,
cold, calculated type guy. Yeah. Also, like, I understand that like Donald's been tampered with. Does Donald just think he has a really good skincare routine that he hasn't aged in like 30 years?
Yeah, right.
Like Donald's like, man, I do Pilates and I'm just really keeping.
Well, does Donald?
He might not know.
Oh, he doesn't know? They
not.
erase his memory?
Or maybe he thinks he's in like a perpetual state of a certain, I don't know, certain thing.
Because he knows that he's an android unless they deleted his memory of it again.
Oh, he knows now.
Oh, okay, yeah. But before that.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, man, I just got good genes,
This flashback is amazing. So it starts off with Cecil going in a department store in some kind of small town. And in the back of that department store, he finds a dirty bomb, basically, like a big-ass WMD. And it's there he fights, get this, Knuckle Buster, then Force Fist.
Better than the other.
Then Drop Kick and Fight Master.
Yeah, it's just one little tier above those.
Yep, Knuckle Buster and Force Fist. I don't know what I think about Force Fist. Like, that's...
That is pretty D tier.
Yeah. Not Donald, but Cecil, he's got some moves here, but I mean, only so much you can do. He puts up a good fight, but ultimately, backup does arrive, and as they're arriving, Knuckle Buster and Force Fist realize that I can't. It's hard to take it seriously. They realize that the gig is up. And they go to activate the bomb, and Cecil sacrifices himself and them to stop the bomb.
I do think in the live action adaptation that Knuckle Buster should be played by Haley Atwell.
And why is that, Caleb?
I just think she'd do a good job.
What specific qualities do you think?
I just think she'd do a good job. I think she'd look great in that suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the details of the suit. You think that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice design.
Okay.
It's got a nice color contrast to Cecil.
It's just bizarre that you would get someone like Haley Atwell for such a small performance.
Well, she's really well known as Peggy Carter, so you don't
Right.
want to give her something too crazy like Eve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's maybe ulterior motives behind your decision. That's all.
Well, that's very presumptuous of you, and I don't appreciate it.
You're right. I apologize. Cecil does sacrifice himself to stop this dirty bomb, and instead of thousands of people dying, I think they said 17 people died. And
does that include Cecil or no?
Because how did he survive that? Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, obviously, like Cecil for the most part has basically been put in through the same shit that they keep resurrecting Donald with.
Yeah. That's true.
Because, like, he was missing most of his skin. That shit looked awful.
Oh, it looked like a shitty way to go.
Yeah.
Would not recommend. I might prefer you just let me die, actually.
Also, Knuckle Buster and Force Fist, fuck that. Like, I'm thinking, okay, all right, we're going to set this bomb off.
Yeah.
And it's going to instantly vaporize us, you, and like 6 blocks. I'm like,
Maybe
okay.
that's what they thought too.
yeah. About the time that like that shit started melting their clothes off, I'd have been like, maybe we should run.
That was a bad time for them.
And like, this is also where we get like, main character hero of the story, Cecil, who saves the city.
I feel like you added in a little extra flair there on some of those details.
Well, I mean, got to keep it interesting for the homies.
That's where we get morally gray, super ambiguous. Cannot trust them. Kind of a good guy at times, kind of a dick bag all the time. Cecil, who
I think at this point in time he was basically, he kind of had that kind of bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like black and white.
As much as Cecil could, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he literally pulled a Steve Rogers and jumped on the grenade here.
Yeah. The worst grenade you could possibly jump on.
Yeah.
So they do whatever their resurrection protocol is, and they bring him back up to health. And apparently he couldn't quite get enough skin to grow over the scar that he has on his face. So we now know the origin of that scar.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
And I like that it wasn't that they couldn't, it's that he wouldn't let them, like that was the only part of his skin that was left. And like they wanted to replace all of it and he wouldn't let them.
Yep.
He wanted it as a reminder that he failed. And I think that plays so much into his current day character.
Yeah, it does, right? But it's like he hadn't really understood what it meant to be the director of the GDA at this point yet.
Right.
But he had definitely learned some harsh realities.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think like where his next big pivotal moment is there's some undisclosed time later, and he's with director Radcliffe, the guy who was the director before Cecil, and they're in some kind of dangerous mission, and they're trying to get out of there, and there's this huge ass hulking motherfucker named Komodo Dragon who's in their way, and he's like bulletproof, and Cecil and Radcliffe are gonna be fucked, but good old Knuckle Duster and Force Fist.
The spinoff show.
Yeah. Oh man, what a spinoff show. They show up and beat the shit out of Komodo Dragon and save the day. And Cecil is like, what the fuck is going on? Like, the fuck did they come from? And Radcliffe explains that, hey man, so yeah, they were bad guys, but now, they work for us. They're under our control. They were too good to waste, is what he said. And Cecil wasn't standing for this. He was like, these guys they're fucking terrorists.
Yeah.
And he put a bullet in them and killed them. And apparently that was not a good thing to do.
Yeah. Prison.
Yep. He went straight to prison. Straight to jail. Do not collect 200. Do not pass go. Straight to jail. And what kind of fucking jail did they put him in?
This is like some Bill Reeves shit.
Yeah.
Like, they got like the worst of the worst of the worst locked up in here.
Yeah. And he's just a normal dude.
Yeah.
Know?
And like within a few years, he's running the fucking place.
Running the clink. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's pretty incredible what he's been able to do in like 3 years' time.
Straight up Wilson Fisk in this bitch.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Except Wilson Fisk is like a big ass imposing motherfucker. Cecil just looks like Walton Goggins with a scar on his face.
When they do the live action Invincible, do you want Walton Goggins to play Cecil?
Yes, absolutely. And he's one of the few. Like, I think Stephen Yeun, we can get. We can't use J.K. Simmons as much as that fucking hurts. We're gonna have to get like John Hamm or someone like that.
Yeah.
Although if they just went with what's his name from Parks and Rec, that would be funny as fuck. What's his name?
Fucking Ron. No.
That's his character in the show. Ron Swanson. Yeah. Because like that shit would be funny as a motherfucker to me. But no, obviously they're not going to be able to get J.K. Simmons, even though he was a fucking ripped Santa Claus.
What if they just do the popular thing right now and they announce Pedro Pascal cast as Omni-Man?
That's insanely likely to happen. And Pedro could pull it off.
He could, but I'm like, we have other actors in Hollywood. You know?
Yeah, he's like, we have family dinner right here every Tuesday night. No exceptions.
He has to escort Oliver across the universe to show him the ways of, becoming a true Viltrumite.
Gillian Jacobs cannot be Eve. But Stephen Yeun can probably play Mark. I mean, I don't know.
They both might be a little too old for those roles.
Yeah, that's true. You're going to have to get somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think you're going to have to mix up a lot of it. But if they can only get two people, I want Walton Goggins and Mark Hamill.
Oh.
Because he's art.
Yeah. I mean, think about it like this. You would have to completely CG Alan. Do you bring back Seth Rogen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, you get Seth Rogen because, like, Alan's going to be CG. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, obviously, like, Zazie Beetz could be Amber.
I'm not mad at that.
No problem.
I'm never mad at seeing Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck you get for Eve. Zachary Quinto cannot. He can still voice Robot.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do once the little kid comes out.
Yeah, that might be difficult. They could just. No, that's kind of a spoiler.
The dude who played Atreyu in Never Ending Story, does he got a kid? Can that kid play? Because, like, he would have been perfect.
Yeah.
He looks just like him.
He kind of does, right? Well, that's the thing, right? Because, like, Robot's technically a clone of Rex Explode, so I'm like, you can just, whoever you get for Rex.
See if they got a kid.
Yeah, or something like that. A little brother, you know?
Yeah.
In which I don't know who you do for Rex either. Which, by the way, Rex, man, back in season 1, Kevin and I were talking about him dying. I'm surprised every episode he lives.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't make it all that far in the comic books. So I'm always surprised that Rex is still with us.
Ross Marquand is like several motherfuckers.
Yeah, he's immortal.
Yeah. And Rudy.
Yeah. And Rudy.
Yeah, and I don't think he can be either one of those people. That dude is in everything.
He's
now.
in everything, yeah. There's a better chance of him being immortal, you know.
Sandra Oh could be Debbie still.
Yeah, for sure.
But that might be just about it. The dude who voices Rex doesn't look anything like him.
Right.
Not at all.
No.
I tell you, who I definitely want to be in the show. I want my boy Sterling K. Brown to be Angstrom.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's the move.
And please do not make him look like a certain Brave New World character,
I knew you were gonna say that.
aka Old Greg.
Oh man. It's like, okay, I see why y'all kept him out the trailers. All right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I probably would have also.
Oh shit. God damn, where were we? Oh yeah. Cecil, he's in jail. He's in super high max security Arkham Asylum, Bell Reeve prison.
Yeah.
The Raft complex.
Amanda Waller definitely runs this place.
Oh yeah. I don't know how well those two would get along if they ever met.
I think like present day Cecil probably get along great with Amanda.
I think he would be like, the task force program is actually pretty incredible. I should do something like that.
Yeah, he'd be like, that's really cool. We should do something like that. And then like a few days later, he'd be like, I think that bitch crazy though.
Oh yeah.
He'd be like, you got a button you can press and their head blows up? He'd be like, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Why did I give Mark a communicator?
Right.
Should have put a bomb in there.
I gave him a headache button. I could have given him like, you know.
Yeah. A head remover button.
But Director Radcliffe comes to visit Cecil in prison one day and basically tells him that you were put here not just as a punishment, but to teach you a lesson for you to learn. And we like what you've done here. Like the murder rate in this place has decreased in over 3 years. And, you know, you had to get your hands dirty to do so, but overall you did a really good job. And I am moving on to another department, and we want to offer you the role of director of the GDA. And ultimately, he decides to take it.
Yeah.
This was an interesting decision. If there's one minor complaint, I wish we would have been able to see exactly more of what he did to transition from who he was going into prison to who he was those 3 years later.
Yeah, I mean, we probably could have used obviously, I know they're stretched for time, but I would have liked a whole episode of this. Like,
right.
Just kind of dedicate the episode to this, you know?
I thought they were going to do that for a while. And, yeah, that would have been great, actually.
But it also works so well intersected. Yep. Like, where we go from that to, like, Mark being like, you're a fucking maniacal piece of shit, you know?
Right.
And you're just like, bruh. Like, you guys, you know, you get to see at one point that Cecil and Mark had the same values, you know?
We get to see him meet Donna for the first time, who looks exactly the same.
Bobby Hill.
Bobby Hill.
Bobby.
We'll talk about the end flashback. Or you know what? If we want to, we can go ahead and talk about it now. But one thing that Radcliffe does say after he offers the job to Cecil, he says, "You can be the good guy or the guy who saves the world." We hear that quote, I think, at least twice this episode.
Because Cecil repeats it.
Yep. He says
Yeah,
again
but
at
you
the
can't
end.
be both.
Yep. Which there might be some truth to that. The problems with sayings like that is that you kind of pigeonhole yourself to believing that it's true. Maybe in certain situations, maybe sometimes you can be both.
I think it's become sort of a creed for Cecil,
Yep.
to be honest. I think he thinks about that every time he makes a decision that's morally gray or maybe worse. I don't think Cecil ever makes a nefarious decision, like, on purpose.
Cecil has never done anything for his own gain,
Right.
you know, and like that, and maybe one other thing is kind of what keeps him a notch or two away from being an Amanda Waller, you know.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, too, that with Cecil, he really, truly believes he's doing the right thing. But
Yep.
then again, so did Nolan at a certain point. So did Thanos, you
Yep.
know. That doesn't preempt you from being a villain. As a matter of fact, in a lot of cases, that sends you directly down that road.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like you think that your morals are so strong and staunch that they can't be broken. You
Yeah.
know, you're gonna have your blinders up and not be willing to see anything else.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Wayne is like one of the few characters that can have that sort of like rigid, incorruptible, like
Right.
like unfaltering kind of value set, and like still stay on the good side of things.
Yeah,
Because like, look how many people have tried to follow in his footsteps and like
shit
fucked
doesn't
up
work.
royally. Yeah,
yeah. The shit rarely, if ever, works because Bruce Wayne is kind of a different person. You know.
yeah. You have to have an insane ability to like be introspective. You know, to be able to analyze yourself.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you just create like a separate persona that does all your shit for you.
I mean, you know. Yeah, so what we get in present day is Mark is in this white room again with these Reanimen, and so here's the thing, right? I can completely understand why Cecil is doing what he's doing. By that same notion, Cecil has to figure out more of a way to de-escalate things because Mark is not calming down.
And he doesn't at all.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, calm the fuck down, Mark.
Right.
And like talking shit to him while this is all happening, because to Cecil, he's like, we have plans for this. We have a doomsday scenario for this, so I'm going to handle the situation by the book. And the book says I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And I think, honestly, that's how we get well past the point of these two sitting down and having a conversation.
Yeah, at that point, the time for them conversing about like their different moral viewpoints is over, because they both kind of, at this point, in their own ways, Mark, more literal than Cecil, has displayed, "I don't trust you,"
Yeah.
you know. And for Cecil, it's more so in his actions. Well, I have this device in your head because you're a goddamn Viltrumite,
Yeah.
and I have these Reanimen. I know you just slaughtered these dozen Reanimen, Mark, but I got like 100 more
Yeah.
in this room.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happens, though, is that Mark takes a step towards Cecil in an aggressive manner. A Reaniman reaches out and grabs Mark. I don't know if Reanimen have any sort of consciousness or thought. Hopefully not. But if they do, then that one probably thought, man, I don't fucked up.
Fortunately for you all, you cannot feel pain. Or at least you don't have a way to express that you feel pain.
And Mark just brutally re-murders these Reanimen.
Kind of reminded me of Nolan with the Guardians in episode 1.
A little bit. Yeah.
It was straight up like that.
Yeah. Just went right through them.
Yeah, and I mean, they do kind of get the upper hand on him once he starts using them and the device.
And the device, yeah.
But I mean, At this point, like, you can see both sides of it. Like, for Cecil, it's like this dude can end you in a second.
Yeah.
You know? And you're already looking at it like you're the only thing standing in between all the alien shit out there and the Earth.
Right.
You know? And like you're in the room with this being who could just kill you. And yeah, you think he's a good guy, but you thought his dad was a good guy too.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like with Nolan, because he at first, as we find out, he didn't trust Nolan, but obviously over the years there was a trust there,
Right?
maybe even something of a friendship of sort, you know.
Yeah.
And we see how that went. And so Mark is really catching the brunt of his father's actions,
Yeah.
and but Mark is not helping his case by the way he's acting right now. But Mark is also like a 19 or 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So,
And Mark ends up fleeing to the Guardians.
he does. And he goes to the Guardians and like quickly tries to explain what's going on. Cecil, of course, knows exactly where Mark is. Teleport directly there and tells the Guardians, stand down. I have it under control. And the Guardians, they hesitate for a while, but once they kind of assess the situation, they're like, no, this is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Like, no, dog.
Yeah. And so the Guardians, they take Mark's side, the ones that are here and present, and they help Mark fight these Reanimen, and they try to get the device away from Cecil. Is it Rex who ends up blowing up the device?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has a dead man switch in it, so
And
now
which,
it's just going off.
So now it's just on constantly. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rex.
Should have let Multipaw whoop your ass longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, Mark is straight losing it, understandably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so most of the Guardians, at this point, like, they are really questioning, like, what the fuck just went down here, because we see Mark, and he is able to get a hold of Cecil and convinces Cecil to stop his bullshit. And he goes, I don't want to talk to you again, and if I see you near my family, I'm killing you. And here's the thing, man. It's like shit has gone so far left now. You wonder how it could ever be repaired between those two.
Right, yeah.
Because I think that Mark meant everything he said, but he also has to understand Cecil is not the type of person to just take that line down.
Yeah, you can't just put an idle threat out there.
Yeah.
And even his mom is like, you did what? Mm-hmm. And of course, he tells his mom this shit in front of Oliver.
Right.
And of course, he did it as a way to be like, yeah, I'm going to protect you no matter what. But what Oliver took with it was, oh, well, if they threaten us, we can kill them. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I think at one point Oliver even says, why didn't you just kill him?
Yeah, why didn't you just kill him right then? And Mark's like, what?
Yeah. You kind of have to wonder, where's Oliver getting this shit from?
It's embedded in his crazy-ass DNA.
Come to find out, it's from the bug people.
Right, yeah. Like, I mean, partially, but also, he's also growing up so fast. Like, Mark had a whole life where he got to be raised by his mom and, get that positive influence, where with Oliver, he's, like, aging so fast. He doesn't have time to process or really grow. I mean, you got to think from the amount of like life experience that he has is probably that of like a 2 or 3 year old, if that.
Yeah.
But yet he's got fucking superpowers. So.
Yeah, he's in a real fucked up position. But there's gonna be a lot more on Oliver in the next episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but just getting through this one really quickly here. The next kind of really big thing that we get here is obviously, like you said, Mark goes to like his mother and Oliver and Sam, and he's talking to all of them about the bullshit that Cecil's done. And, Debbie's thinking that, yeah, Cecil, he's betrayed my trust. He told me after what Nolan did that he would, watch over Mark and protect Mark, but now look at what he's done. back at the Guardians of the Globe, we get Duplicate and Immortal and Samson, yep, who show up there as well. As well as their Martian Manhunter type guy.
Yeah.
Whose name I always forget.
The stretchy dude?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but he's funny.
Yep. So the whole team is here, and they're cleaning up that bloody mess from the battle earlier.
Yeah.
And at one point, they all come to the conclusion that, like, this is kind of bullshit, man. Like, we're cleaning up this mess, and look at what Cecil's done. And so they begin having this debate about Cecil's tactics and what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And most of them, I think all but 4, agreed to leave the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah, so we have the schism here. Mm-hmm. And let's see. So Duplicate stays, Immortal stays, yep. Samson stays.
And Stretchy Martian.
And Stretchy Martian guy.
Yep. Cecil obviously wants to bring in Darkwing to kind of help fill out the gap a little bit.
Stretchy Martian guy's reason for staying was like the best. Where he's like, yeah, Cecil let me stay here after that shit I did on Mars.
Right. So I kind of feel like I owe him one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of the team, they are out of there. And there was a second there where I didn't really know what Robot was going to do.
Yeah. I think Robot's a little sociopath.
Yeah.
Because we got to remember that Robot was that fucking thing in the tank or whatever that looked like he came from like the Dune 84 movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he was that little you remember like when you first see Cell and he's like in the tank and like a little bean sprout, fucked up looking thing. That's kind of what Robot looked like, except bigger.
Yeah.
Not pretty to look at. More on that in the coming seasons, on the Robot stuff. But yeah, I guess like I guess it's okay because they both appear to be children. The thing like with him and Monster Girl,
even though like neither of them are.
Neither of them are. Yeah, yeah. So it's a weird kind of dichotomy. But he chose to be in like a kid's body
because she was.
That doesn't make it better.
No. But I think this is obviously like a weird scenario that would never really happen. Right. But like to me, it's like it's fine because they are both actually adults. Yeah. So whatever. If y'all want to do some really freaky altered carbon shit, that's on you. Oh. Although that's her actual body,
Yeah, that's stuck like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do if she transforms for too long and like becomes like a little baby or whatever.
That could be problematic.
Yeah,
that could be problematic. Debbie goes on a date, and the guy's name is Paul. I just realized.
Yeah, single Paul.
Yeah, single Paul.
Solo Paul.
Yeah,
Paul Solo.
He's single Paul from Singapore. You see.
No, because they would name him Single Paul.
Oh yeah.
He is Unipal.
Unipal. Oh shit. Yeah, he's going out on a date with Debbie here, and I think they're going a couple dates. I think they're going on another date in episode 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Debbie, she's out here, getting her groove back, trying to.
This is where she drops the Nolan wasn't whatever, the engineer or whatever.
Yeah. What you think of that?
I mean, honestly, you can kind of see it building because it's really like she realizes that, okay, I value this, but in order for this to go any further than where it is right now, I have to be upfront. It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
But that is a very risky thing to do. By the way, my husband is the fucking interdimensional terrorist who damn near destroyed the world,
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? I'm not saying that this would be my thought, but Paul in that moment was probably thinking, I can't match that dick.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing I can do after that.
He kind of alludes to that later, like not in those exact words, but that's exactly what I would be thinking. Be like, man, I don't know if like Viltrumites have like legendarily big dicks, but I know they're strong as a motherfucker.
Yeah, I know I can't follow that.
I know he got some strong dick. At bare minimum, he got some like damn near infinite stamina.
Infinite stamina, yeah. And probably like with the Flash, like you can set yourself to vibrate mode. I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do that shit. Watch, it just turns out that like all Viltrumites have small dicks.
God damn, they're like gorillas.
Yeah, it's like it's just like just an aspect of their race. But hey, whatever. If you can vibrate that shit at like whatever speed,
then then you still putting in work, I guess.
You can still slang it for like 6 hours,
right?
No problem.
Holy shit!
Like, are you gonna be asleep?
God damn. How long was Nolan on that bug planet before he decided to fuck one of them?
He couldn't have been very long because they died.
Yeah.
He was like, well, I gotta fuck something. And the bugs is all that's here.
And that one looks kind of thick.
Yeah, she kind of thick. Hey, girl. You only got like 6 hours to live. You trying to have fun for that? How many fucking random Nolan babies do you think there are out there?
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no.
It can't just be Mark and Oliver. He's got to be like Ego.
Oh, no.
And he got little seedlings everywhere. Some little Nolanlings.
Oh, that's awful. Especially since I don't think they're supposed to.
Yeah, right. Well, we already been through this.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. Yeah, we know.
Oh,
it's like jaywalking, you know? It's like,
you're not supposed to do it.
But everyone does.
Yeah. Oh, man. So to end the episode here, we get another flashback to Cecil seeing a disruption, and there's this new entity fighting this giant monster on the beach.
Yep.
And it is none other than Omni-Man.
Yep.
And Donald advises that maybe they send Immortal out there first. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, because Immortal would have got fucking rocked.
Yeah. But instead, Cecil goes, let me talk to him first. So he goes out there and approaches him. And we don't really get to see a whole lot of their conversation. But what we do know is that obviously it went well. We do know that Nolan tells him that he is from the planet Viltrum. And, he's here to help.
To help, yeah.
Yeah. And, in a roundabout Viltrumite logic, they do believe that they are kind of helping.
Sure, in like a Saiyan logic, yeah.
So here's the benefit to the Viltrumites invading a planet. You get their technology and their medicine. You just lose all your freedoms.
Right, yeah. I have brought peace and prosperity to my new empire.
Yeah. You get it.
I just randomly, I really, when they do the live action for this, I definitely want Hayden Christensen as a Viltrumite.
Oh my gosh. Huh. I'm not mad at that. What if they got John Cena as Omni-Man?
No. And no, I will not expound upon that.
Okay. Just no?
No. Okay. He doesn't have the chops for that shit.
This could be a step up for
him.
He
could be Alvin the Alien. John Cena could be Rex.
No.
Yeah, Rexplode. John Cena could be Rexplode.
It would be so bizarre because this would be an instant where like Rexplode is just so much bigger than everybody else.
Yeah. I honestly I guess maybe they could have him be immortal. I don't know what John Cena would look like with a beard.
Oh wow, we've never seen that.
We've never seen that shit. Yeah. Shit seems crazy to me.
mean, well, we've never really seen him, to be honest. So
yeah, that's true.
It tracks.
We could get old Ron Swanson as immortal. That would be dope.
Yeah, we seen him with the beard in Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, in this this flashback with Omni-Man seems to go well. We all know now at this point what Omni-Man was really up to. But Cecil, when he gets back to base, he tells Donald essentially something along the lines of, yeah, we're going to play nice and work together, but I don't trust him, so keep tabs. And, we're going to learn more about him. And I believe that it is somewhere along the lines here where when do we get the line again when it's dropped by Cecil? The line about you can be a good guy or the guy who saves the world.
I think he says it to Donald.
Yeah. I think it's here like when he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
And Eve, she agrees to go out with Mark. I believe that's the post credit. And that was Mark is lucky because he wrote him that one on that first attempt.
He did.
He
really did.
Yeah.
The DM was like, well, I kind of need this for the plot, but you fucked it up real bad. So
real bad. And here's the thing. He kind of fumbles it both times, but at least the second time it's kind of a cute, socially awkward type thing and not a I'm doing this because I know you're desperate type thing.
Right, right.
So, yeah. And but she does agree. So, hooray for Mark and Amber. I'm sure they will live a long and happy relationship with no problems or trauma or troubles.
It's not looking like that. Because we got the very next episode.
Episode 3. Episode 3 had a weird name. I think it was called You Want a Real Costume, right?
Yeah.
I believe that's what Art says to... Or is that what... I think that's what Art says.
Yeah.
Yep. The beginning of this episode was very interesting. It's about, I think, 7 minutes when I timed it.
Yeah.
And there's no dialogue.
Yeah, this was great, actually.
Yeah. And it's between the two small-time villains that we saw, Tether and Magnamaniac, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, this whole thing was so well done because you begin to really question, if you weren't already questioning Mark's decisions and, his morality, you kind of show here that, hey, these two were planning to rob this bank. They got chased off. They decided that they wanted to try to go about things the legit way. Got into a situation, shitty employer, got treated like shit. Fucking lost the battle to capitalism. Ended up living on the streets. No way to make ends meet. And then they're like, well, fuck. I guess we're gonna have to go back and rob that bank. And then when they do, here we get motherfucking Invincible.
Yeah.
Comes along and could have killed them.
Yep.
Just beats the shit out of them. And you're sitting here watching this and this is the guy who has the moral high ground.
Yeah. Well, they were robbing the bank.
Right. A victimless crime, basically. Nobody got hurt.
Because the good guys got there in time.
Oh, okay. I see. I understand.
See, this is why I'm here, man, to help, explain the things to you that, because some of these things just go over your head.
I see. And he brought little motherfucking Brightburn with him. And I'm surprised he didn't kill him.
He had young Oliver with him. He was
Shit.
very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and, looking forward to learning more about what it means to be a superhero. Yeah. And, because there was no need for excessive violence, Oliver did not partake.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Because that's his specialty.
Yeah, this is a very good opening for the show. Again, with the silent opening of it all, and you just following the story based on what the characters are doing. I thought it was very good. Very unexpected, too. I mean, we've seen these characters in, earlier seasons, but I never thought we come back and revisit them in any capacity.
And especially not to, like, in this short of a time, like, make you feel for them.
Yeah.
You know? But this was a great way to open the episode because it just kind of shows a little bit more of a dimension to Mark and, like, to morality as a whole. Like, it's not always cut and dry. As a matter of fact, most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
And then you get into, like, the legality, right? Like, what they did was illegal. Was it necessarily wrong? Were they
Right.
They're just trying to survive?
Yep.
You know, they didn't hurt anyone.
And Tether even tried to comfort the kid. You know,
Yeah.
there was a kid who was startled by the situation.
Yeah, before he got his, like, sternum crushed in by Invincible.
Right.
And he doesn't understand how close he came to being murdered by goddamn little baby Omni-Man.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, that would have been tragic.
Omni-Man Jr.
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to take my my notes on this one here. So I'm really just going off of memory on this one.
Yeah, no worries. I know they go and get the super suits after
They
this.
go and get the super suits
From Mark Hamill.
from good old Mark Art.
Yeah. What do you think about the Invincible suit here?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So I actually read something that I did not know until I saw this interview. Looking for the Invincible books.
Yeah, where are they?
They are out there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
They got booted, folks.
I know.
And you haven't hung the thing? No.
Not yet.
Motherfucker.
I'm working on it.
All right.
Yeah. We showed it off, right? Yeah.
I don't think we showed off the framed version.
We haven't. Well,
No, is it still over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed off the before the frame version, but we haven't shown off the actual framed version yet. So we're gonna have to do that. So if you're only on the audio, this is where you're at a disadvantage. So yeah, this is the final product here. This is what's going up on the wall.
It is gorgeous.
I gotta say that I like this costume a lot better than the new one.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great costume that he's wearing here. Yeah, this is a gorgeous piece. Like it's so good that like when I took it out of like the wrapping and I really saw it, I contemplated like bringing the Invincible books back in here so I could just hang it above it, you know.
Yeah.
But
the picture doesn't do it justice. Like
it doesn't. Like it's fucking gorgeous, guys. Get a load of that.
And interesting trivia here. That is actually museum glass. Like you would keep the Declaration of Independence behind.
Well, don't do that. we don't need drop kick and fight masters
to come in here and take it.
I don't think we can stop. Well, maybe we could. They didn't seem that formidable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Rexplode fucked one of them up pretty handily.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I figured we just grab something, we might stand a chance.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a great piece. I will say I like that suit a lot more than the one he gets here. This one is very plain.
Yeah, so he goes through a period in the comics around the same time where he gets that suit, that blue and black.
The Nightwing?
Yeah, basically the Nightwing. And like I always thought it was an interesting decision because when I was first reading the comics, that's where my mind went to. To me, Mark always reminded me of Nightwing as it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
they even Mark Grayson.
You know? Yeah. And like the way he was drawn, he just always kind of reminded me of Nightwing. And then he got the blue and black. And I'm like, what is Kirkman doing here?
And I mean, obviously, like, I think that's one of the reasons why I really like him anyway.
Yeah.
Is because of how Nightwing adjacent he is, you know, until this season. Because Dick Grayson would never do this shit.
If Dick Grayson had Superman's powers, you know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
like you can't really go off of that because like while Dick Grayson doesn't have Superman's power set, he definitely has the means to fuck shit up if he needs to.
Oh yeah, but you know, I can definitely see Batman taking that Caesar position if any of like the Bat kids came into some kind of power like that. You know,
that's true.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
but Kirkman did say something recently about the blue and black suit, and I don't know if this is just revisionist history on his end or if he really meant that. But he says something along the lines of is symbolic or representative of like when Spider-Man got the black suit, because he was going through a darker time during that period, and he was kind of, the way he behaved was also altered or different, and the things he was going through was kind of a darker time for him, and that the blue and black suit for Mark kind of represents that.
That tracks, because he is definitely more Frank Castle than he is Dick Grayson here in a lot of this shit.
Yeah. So they I do like the suit for now, but I mean, we probably will, I think by season 4 we'll be in a different suit.
He needs a logo. You know, the marketing department really needs to get on that.
Right. Yeah.
You got to copyright that shit so you can sell the merch.
Yep. You know, you can't do the lowercase I because that's Incredibles. You know.
Right. Yep.
That's already taken.
Can't do the uppercase I because that's somebody has that, right?
Probably. I don't know.
But I know that it was to the point that the news was calling him Invincible.
Yeah, Invincible. Because, and I was thinking, how different does his suit look that you guys call him Invincible?
Well, you got to, like, that suit is very distinguished.
Yeah.
Like, it's got a lot of detail in it, whereas, like, the new one just really doesn't. It's just kind of black and blue with a couple of different shapes. Like, honestly, like, fucking Omni-Man Jr. over there got the better suit.
You know, on one hand, I realize that you're continuing to pick on poor Oliver by calling him Omni-Man Jr. However, the name that he picked for himself was Kid Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Which isn't any better.
It's actually worse. I think Omni-Man Jr. has a little bit better ring to it. Although his mask kind of looks like the Hamburglar, so he's like the Omni-Burglar.
The Omni-Burglar. See, I was going to say, like, you give Mark the uppercase I, try to give him a different lowercase I, and call him Invincible, you know?
I guess Invincible's little brother who will probably fucking kill you is probably too much to put.
Yeah, that's a lot to put on, you know, on the shirt. Oh, man. They never decide on a name for him at this point, do they? They just say that Invincible is what they call him, right?
That's what they call Mark.
What they call Mark, yeah.
Yeah, they never actually decide on a hero name for Oliver because he's got to explain to him why what Kid Omni-Man is motherfucking offensive. Full stop. Even Art was like, ooh.
Yeah, and again, there's been several red flags with Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
This was definitely one of them.
This whole episode is like straight full of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's on their way home from this when they get he gets the call about the magma dude
and Tether,
and he tells him he can watch or whatever, and it's also like we have this scene where like obviously Oliver doesn't fucking listen at all.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked, and then Mark nearly kills both of them.
Yeah.
I actually thought Tether was about to get burned through when the other dude like came out of the suit. I was like, is he gonna like melt him?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I thought shit was gonna go real sideways.
Yeah.
Thankfully for them it didn't. Because it would have only gone bad for Magnamaniac and Tether.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is the episode where we get the poor death of the Maulers, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're doing something with the nuclear silo. I'll be honest, I didn't even catch what their intent was, but they attacked the same nuclear silo that the Lizard Society attacked. And I love that they actually have like the Homeland Security agents or whatever, like, oh, it'll never happen to the same people twice. I was like, man, don't say that shit.
I know.
And immediately they just get fucking murdered by the Mauler twins. And of course, the Mauler twins have a crazy gun they invented and it like wrecks the shit out of your nervous system.
Yeah.
And obviously they're doing their nefarious shit, and the Guardians of the Globe get called. And Mark and Oliver have actually just returned back home from Mark scolding Oliver about getting involved in the fight. And they're talking about how, like, he never listens to them at all, because this is like the 8th time now that they've been like, don't do this. And he's like, cool. And then immediately does it.
You know, we just spoke about, like, the similarities between, like, Nightwing and Mark Grayson. What about
Damian and Oliver? Yeah. Yeah, I knew there was a reason I didn't fucking like him. Honestly, like, if I gotta have one of the two of them in my presence, like, give me Damian.
Yeah.
At least if, like, I piss Damian off, he's just gonna kill me.
That's true.
Like,
I mean, so would Oliver.
Yeah, but probably in some horrible way.
Yeah, like if Oliver killed you, we'd have to bury you in like a trash bag.
Yeah, yeah. At least like I just might get my throat cut by Damian. Or whatever,
yeah. That's true.
I don't want to be ran through by an infant.
Boy, the phrasing on that just sounds wow.
Yeah. And so we get the Mauler twins, and we get some Run the Jewels.
We do.
And they're wrecking the Guardians, of course. And then Mark and Oliver show up.
Yep.
Invincible and Omnibuddy. Invincible and the Omniburglar.
Omniburglar.
Show up.
God damn.
And at this point, Mark goes to try to stop the rocket.
The rocket, yeah, because that shit had already took off.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mark was like, don't do anything while I'm gone.
Stay in the house, Carl.
And so, yeah, that did leave little Oliver with the Marlowe twins. Now, what's a small child to do, you know? He has to defend himself.
Yeah, he's got to murder both of them brutally. First, he, like, explodes one of them's jaw.
That was gruesome.
Yeah, and then
he was still alive.
Yeah, and then when they like are trying to figure out what to fucking do now, he like runs through one of them, and you're like, oh well, that's fine. Like they got one left, so like they can just like clone that one back, and it'll all be fine. And then he proceeds to run over and Shoryuken the fuck out of him, and like his head just explodes.
Yeah. That straight up Street Fighter flaming dragon uppercut.
Yeah.
Gruesome really doesn't describe it, guys. It was
awful.
It was a tremendous act of horror.
Yeah, and then the Guardians like see the shit. Mm-hmm. And Cecil is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, when Mark comes back, Cecil gives him a little bit of shit about it, you know?
Well, like, when Mark shows up, all he sees is Cecil talking to Oliver.
Yeah.
And he snatches that motherfucker up like Thor in Age of Ultron when he walked back in and grabbed Tony and was like, bitch, what I fucking say?
Yeah. That's a direct quote, actually.
Yeah. I can't quite do the Chris Hemsworth voice. But
yeah. It's close.
It's more like bitches, what did I say?
What doth I say? But yeah, so the optics did not look good when Mark showed up because, like you said, from his perspective, you just see Cecil speaking to Oliver, which if you're Mark, you don't want that at all.
Right.
However, once it's explained what went down, hey man, your boy, your Omnibuddy, killed the Marlowe twins brutally.
He's like, we going to the house right fucking now.
Yeah. And so at this point, right, they go home and they have a stern talking to with Oliver. And it seems like it's finally gotten through to Oliver.
Yeah.
About murdering people, how that's wrong.
But everything else he agreed to as well, like not using his powers in the house and like not getting involved in the fights and all of this.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of wonder, okay, what's this gonna look like when, you know, like, at what point will he be field ready, and what's it gonna look like if the shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, like, I haven't read the comics, so I couldn't tell you. But to me, like, as a storyteller, the money shot for this story, for me, would be to have Oliver intentionally kill Nolan. So, I have no idea if it plays out that way, but that would be to me like the culmination of all this. He's a bad guy, and like he obviously knows that's his dad, and he keeps trying to be like him. But every time he tries to like pay homage to him, someone sits him down and explains to him why his dad's a shitty person. So he's gonna be like, "Well, he threatened the whole planet," you know. So
Nolan had one bad day, and all of a sudden that erases the 20 years of saving the world and doing good.
I don't think this is a one bad day scenario.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I mean,
he said his mom was like a pet to him.
Okay, have you ever been upset and you said something, and then you're like, I shouldn't have said that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I think this is also the episode where we get Eve going to see her parents.
Yeah.
And this was an interesting scenario because, her parents are like, they basically been trying to act like she doesn't have abilities for years.
Right.
And kind of like shaming her for being a superhuman.
Which is weird, right? Because her powers are so useful.
Right, yeah. You need a new house? There you go.
Yeah.
But, so she basically goes and confronts them, and she's like, hey, look, I'm not going to use my powers in the house, but, like, y'all going to stop treating me like I'm a fucking alien. And I love how she's like, well, I'm glad we got that settled. By the way, can I move back in for a while?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, this scene where they're talking to Oliver, Mark randomly is like, what the fuck? And he grabs a small drone that's been watching them.
This is interesting.
Yeah, this is a great moment because Mark is like, oh, clearly this is Cecil.
Right.
But we see that it's not Cecil.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think it is?
It's Angstrom.
Think it's Angstrom?
I'd know that voice anywhere because we see the computer monitor and then we get Sterling K. Brown, one big happy family.
Yeah. Yeah, that was his voice, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know that voice anywhere. I fucking love Sterling K. Brown.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen this new show? People are talking about it all over the place now.
What is it?
Paradise, something like that.
I have not.
It's on Hulu. People have been raving about it. Say it's really good.
Unfortunately, this podcast doesn't give me a lot of leeway to watch things that I just want to watch.
No, it does not. You signed the contract.
I did. I'm 115 episodes behind on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah, and then I'm gonna try to watch American Primeval. It's that new show that's got Esposito in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the second and final half of 1923 is about to come out, and then Born Again.
Yes. Yeah. Born Again is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I am hyped.
Hyped.
Yep.
So let's get into this fourth episode so we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
But,
let's go ahead and do the damn thing. Episode 4. I don't have the title of it here in front of me, but it's something from the comic books.
It's something from the comics.
It's something from the comics. That's the name of it.
Here, I got the IMDb pulled up here. I'm sure we can pull it up here. Episodes. I know episode 5 is going to be called "This Was Supposed to Be Easy." That's interesting. Episode 4, "You Were My Hero."
That is interesting.
What do you think that references?
You were supposed to be my hero.
Is that immortal? No.
And
one of the executioners says it to Nolan,
maybe I can see that.
where they're talking about like all of
Yeah.
his achievements and like all the stories they heard about him and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That tracks.
This was a great episode. This was like a nice little mid-season episode here. The A and B plot like are completely separated. So we get the A plot, which is the Mark and Eve stuff and the time travel, and then the B plot, which is finally Nolan and Alan pays off.
Which you gotta imagine. By the time we get to the season finale, they at least have to be on their way back to Earth.
Right, something.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because like this episode kind of opens with Mark just busting into the fucking Pentagon.
Yeah.
I told you to stay out of my shit.
and fucking Cecil, man, he's got a good poker face because he just remains just as calm and as cool as he can be.
He's like, yeah, dog. Like if I was watching you, you would never know.
You wouldn't know it, yeah.
And then as soon as he's gone, Donald's like, but sir, we are spying on them. He's like, yeah, but not with this.
Yeah. I fucking know that, Donald.
Yeah. Once again, Donald, I fucking know. What do I pay you for? God damn. You know how expensive it is to regrow you every time?
But yeah, like I think you're definitely right. That is definitely Angstrom Levy.
Yeah. He would have been a fool to include 100% of his selves in the giant multiverse combo machine.
Yeah, that's true. And you wonder how that's just gonna come back.
Does every Angstrom Levy just hate this motherfucker?
Probably now.
Yeah.
Because hell, like when you look at the crux of what he did, like absorbing almost all of his consciousness into himself,
and then got killed.
Can't be good for you.
No.
So Eve and Mark, they do decide to go on a date finally, and it's going well for about the first 37 seconds.
Yep.
And then we get the majestic, the legendary, the iconic duo known as Dropkick and
Force Fist. Is that
no?
That's the other one. It's Dropkick and
Fight Master.
Fight Master. Iron Fist was copyrighted.
My next two D&D characters.
Dropkick and Fight Master?
And Fight Master, hell yeah.
It's twins. Like, you played both characters.
Right, I played both of them, yeah.
Both of them.
And they say, Mark, hey, man, we really need your help. You're the only one who can help us with this. It's really important. And Mark is like, no, dog, I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm on a date right now. Yeah, and, like, this is actually where I kind of got into the, like, Mark is a selfish bitch mode because he's like, man, I'm trying to have a date. And they're like, our, like, entire reality is fucked.
Hey, look, man, he's 19 years old, and he's trying to get his dick wet.
I understand.
I don't think you do.
I do. I've been there. Yeah.
So you understand that, like, it's not a matter of selfishness.
And I didn't have superpowers and wasn't famous.
But eventually, like, they do get him in there by fucking kidnapping him.
Yeah.
They straight up kidnapped him.
Well, we don't know that they kidnapped him. They opened their time space bowl, and he just happened to get pulled in.
I think that falls under the category of kidnapping, if I had to guess.
We don't know that they intentionally drug him in there. Which we said that the other night that Indiana Jones was kind of like the rare instance of a space and time butthole, but here we have another one.
Or was this technically just a time butthole?
We don't know. Well, they don't pop up in Paris, so it obviously has to be space and time.
That's true. That is true.
Yep.
Only here, folks, can you learn about the different buttholes of reality. There's space, there's time, there's space-time. There are plenty of reality buttholes, I would assume.
Yeah, space-time, soul.
The soul hole.
Soul. Oh, my God.
It's interesting because once Mark is pulled into this alternate dark future, he, he says, "Well, I need to do something with my other clothes," and then another Mark Grayson pops up, takes the clothes.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I have a fuck ton of questions about that.
You shouldn't think about time paradoxes like that.
Just don't think about it, Morty.
Don't think about them.
Because like another Mark Grayson would have had to be like, I have to go to this specific point in time so I can grab my clothes. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we see at the end of the episode he does that.
That's true. Yeah.
So, they say that they're being ruled underneath this evil regime, and they need Mark to essentially liberate them. So it's a straightforward mission. He doesn't have a whole lot of details, but it's straightforward. The idea is that they need to be captured. So that Mark can be taken before the king. That is the easiest way.
I love how he's like, oh, these are just regular robots, right? And they're like, yeah, but before you, and then he just destroys them all. They're like, we actually want them to capture us.
Oh, y'all should have said so.
Yeah, y'all should have said that.
And so they do get captured, and they get split up. Mark ends up going to the ruler, while Dropkick and Fightmaster end up being taken elsewhere towards execution, but they have a plan.
I got the feeling that's not their first time.
It doesn't seem like it, right?
They're like, oh, no, this happens all the time. You're good. Go talk to the king.
Yeah. How do you think we got the names Dropkick and Fightmaster?
Yeah. Yeah, all the other, like, legit superheroes are dead, and, like, this is what was left.
That's right. And lo and behold, the ruler of this new world is none other than the Immortal.
Yeah, this was an interesting twist.
Yeah,
with the twist.
He was crazy by this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that is actually really common in the Cosmere. It's going to come up a lot. Is like kind of what kind of effect immortality would have on a mortal mind. And we see this kind of illustrated here where he is just batshit.
Yeah. He doesn't even remember Kate.
No. He's like, I've had so many wives. Like, dog, the one who could split into multiple. Like, there can't have been a ton of those.
And he's like, I've had so many wives.
Yeah. the one who could give you the blowjob and the rim job simultaneously.
Oh, her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I miss her.
Yeah, I miss her a lot. It's hard to follow that.
I've married twins, triplets, everything. Still doesn't. It's not the same.
It's not.
He should have got the Dr. Manhattan treatment from her.
Yeah. He's like, you know what we could really use right now? 2 more titties. She's like, fine. Bloop.
Oh, man. What's interesting here is that the Immortal is saying that Mark left him here, that he was supposed to come back.
Yeah, he apparently put him in charge and then left. And I'm like, I have all the questions.
I mean, it sounds to me that, like, in this alternate future, Mark sides maybe with the Viltrumites. They conquer Earth, and Mark is off to another planet. That's what I assume.
Because he says Mark is the Emperor.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like maybe in this universe, like, Mark and Nolan, like, beat the Viltrumites, and then Mark just installed himself as the Emperor.
That's true.
Like, he just became just as bad as them.
Yeah.
Which, may or may not be the plot to Dune 3. Spoilers.
Oh, shit. Well, damn. I can kind of see it now that you mention it. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't gather that from the whole first 2 movies being like, maybe you shouldn't, like, start a intergalactic cult for yourself?
I mean, yeah, but he did, and it ended up all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm just, maybe I don't remember Dune Messiah as well as I think I do.
I think you do. Oh, man. Immortal wants Mark to kill him. And to like, because that's the only way in his mind that this can end. He can't just step down. He can't just give up the crown. He has to be killed.
Yeah.
And Mark doesn't want to do it.
Right.
I mean, he's just trying to get more information, and he's trying to get through to the Immortal, but he's just so far gone.
Yeah, he's like, then I'll make you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to imagine how much suffering he's had. Everybody he's ever loved, he's had to just watch them get old and die.
Yeah.
He's lost his. He basically has like super ultra mega Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah.
He's got like mega dementia, where he's just been alive for thousands and thousands of years. And you gotta expect that by that point, it's got to get old, man.
Yeah.
I think like 1,000 years in, you probably did everything there is to do.
Yeah, you've done everything you want to do. You've seen shit begin to repeat itself.
Yeah.
Like this.
I can only imagine what kind of wild fetish shit you'd be in like 500 years in.
Oh man, you'd be into some weird shit.
Because you see what the shit that like the rich people on like our planet get up to.
Oh yeah, and they only got like 60, 70 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah.
So 500 years in, man, like I don't know, like
I'm doing. Hey girl, go ahead and get the bathtub, put it on the roof, and fill it with milk. You know what we about to do.
Yeah,
like I'm doing.
And she's like, again, all right, fine.
And bring the jelly beans this time too.
Yeah,
like I'm doing all the weird shit. Probably live for 500 years.
Go ahead and heat that maple syrup up to exactly 134 degrees. I need it exactly like I like it.
Yeah, girl, we about to make some s'mores tonight.
That's right.
Oh man, Mark does eventually decide to end Immortal.
He doesn't give him much choice.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, but still, just kind of like with Ancient Levy, he's put in a position where, like, well, I didn't want to, but yeah, here I am.
Yeah, and I mean, our two time traveler buddies are real happy about it. They give him the Declaration of Independence back.
It was funny, right? The whole idea of stealing it was that apparently they could use the ink from the Declaration of Independence to
kill him.
Yeah.
This is why you don't believe shit you read on the internet.
Like, who told you this?
Fox News.
They got Alex Jones. Now listen, if you really want to stop the Immortal, yeah, the gay frogs told me you have to get ink from the Declaration of Independence, and because this is what the woke media didn't want you to know. All right,
that ink contains pure, unadulterated, unrefined freedom.
Freedom. Okay, it's literally made of freedom, folks. I'm not being hyperbolic here. I'm being literal. It's made of freedom.
And our king is a tyrant, and so the freedom will just get into his veins and kill him.
It's the only way. Drop kick, fight master. You're the only guys who can do this. All right. Like, why is Alex Jones still alive?
Yeah,
in this universe?
It's just a cyborg with it's an AI that's been trained on Alex Jones, like on millions of hours of Alex Jones.
Holy shit! And they're like, "Well, that was a fucking lie."
That AI still owes people money.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, so yeah, they are very grateful to Mark, and they're able to take him back to his home. We do see Mark reach back and get his clothes from himself just arriving.
Yeah.
And so neat little paradox we got going on there. We don't really know too much about what else happens with this role.
Yeah, and then next thing we know, like, he's kind of returned to his date like no time passed.
Yeah. It would be a little difficult for me to resume a date knowing that I just killed a crazy friend of mine.
Who's become like an immortal demon king.
Yeah.
It's crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we saying?
Yeah, I would have like the greatest stories to tell, but wouldn't really, I think I need to talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
First,
You just sit back down. Yeah, so anyway, I was out in the yard working yesterday, girl. You know how it is. And
yeah. And then like this episode, technically this A plot actually ends early. This is what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, they start smashing.
They do start smashing.
Yeah. And then we get a fade to black.
We can't forget the smashing. So and they're like, yeah, we should probably get our own spot soon.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that would help.
So then this is where we get the little Alan the Alien intro. and like they do like a brief recap of everything up to this moment, and then we get the execution.
Yeah.
And this is when Alan is like, all right, well, I got to do something right fucking now.
Yep. It's interesting because they've tried to execute Alan a few different times.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because he's strong as shit. But he's just playing possum. He could leave anytime he wants to, but he's playing possum right now because he wants to convince Nolan to come with him. He knows that if they're going to overthrow the Viltrum Empire, then they need all the help they can get. And what better help than a goddamn Viltrumite? But Nolan, he doesn't want to hear any of that. Nolan wants to face the music. He feels like what he's done is worthy of a Viltrumite death. So, he doesn't want to go along with Alan. And the day the execution finally comes and they take Nolan, and in typical Viltrumite fashion, they don't just kill you. They got to beat you.
And talk shit to you.
A bunch. And Alan begins to enact his plan. So, he quite easily escapes from his own confinement.
Starts wrecking the guards.
But then they got the laser guns or whatever, and I'm like, they're not really. Maybe they're just aggravating you, but they're not hurting you,
right?
But then he's like, well, we could use some extra distractions. So he opens up all the cells.
I'm sure this won't come back to haunt them at all, ever.
I'm like, we don't know what these intergalactic prisoners have done.
These are people that the Viltrumites decided to lock up.
Yeah.
The Viltrumites, who normally just kill you.
Right. Yeah, like that can be good.
Yeah.
But then he's like, well, we need more than this. I wonder what's behind this fucking big ass barricaded door.
And this is when we get so like they kind of spoiled it. Unfortunately, this is like a minor complaint. In the like recap, they put Battle Beast in there, so you like, he's gonna be in the fucking episode. I'm like, just leave him out
because he's got nothing to do with
any of this shit.
Yeah,
and then he opens up the cell and like you hear that growl, and it's just like, fuck yes, motherfucking Battle Beast returns.
He has returned, and it's like, man, like, too bad you guys can keep track of him and be like, we have more challenges for you, if you come with us. But anyways,
I think he's just floating out in space with that other Viltrumite. Yeah, that fighting. Poor other Viltrumite. Right. I feel bad for that guy.
Again, I want to know how they caught him.
Yeah,
I need to see that.
They must have been like, hey, right over here, there's like a gladiator arena, and like you're gonna face the strongest people in the universe. Right. And he was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
But you got to put your big ass weapon down.
Yeah.
And just walk into here.
Just walk in right here. We got to scan you into the system, register you for the tournament.
We're going to need you to put on those giant cufflinks that look like, handcuffs.
Yeah, they're going to gauge your strength.
Right.
Yeah. It had to be something like that.
Yeah.
He's fucking nuts, dude.
He is insane.
I love me some Battle Beast.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I'm very interested to see him fight Mark again. I think that'd be great.
Man, like, who he does end up fighting, it's nuts. That's all I can say.
I just want to see Battle Beast beat the bejesus out of Mark.
Again, why Mark?
Again. Because Mark's a little shit, man.
He's not
Mark is on my shit list right now,
God
okay?
Damn.
He's been a real piece of shit this whole season.
I'm going to say this, man. By the end of the episode, end of the season, you will see Mark get his shit straight rocked.
Good, because last time I saw it, I didn't like it. But this time I'm going to like it. Live up to that name, boy. Invincible.
Battle Beast is not having fun with these guards because they're just too fucking weak for him.
Yeah, and he's like, Alan's pretty sure he knows where the execution chamber is, but he's on the wrong floor.
Yep.
And Battle Beast almost rocks his shit. I don't know how formidable he would have been against Battle Beast. He's pretty strong right here. But I don't know, man. Nolan didn't really want to fuck with Battle Beast.
Nobody wants to fuck with Battle Beast, man. And like I said, like who Battle Beast like ends up fighting in the long term, it's nuts. And this fight in the comics, it goes on for fucking ever. And I'm like, one of y'all need to win this shit. It's crazy. But they do end up on the right floor eventually.
Yeah.
Thankfully
and that's when
Alan,
things go completely ape shit because we end up with Alan, or we end up with Alan, Nolan, and Battle Beast versus fucking everybody.
Yep. The two Viltrumites and all those guards.
You got to filibuster for a little bit. I gotta go to the restroom.
Yeah, do your thing, dog. So now that Caleb's gone, I'm gonna spoil the shit out of everything that happens in the comic books. All right. Just kidding, guys. So me and Junior here, we're gonna go ahead and hold on to the fort until Caleb comes back from his restroom break. Yeah. So at this point in the season of the show, I'm really enjoying it so far, and I think that the back half of the season is gonna be even more impactful. Again, I've been hinting a lot at like things to come, and man, I really want to talk about the person who's going to show up at the end of the season, and I think I have a pretty accurate assessment of where this season is going to end, and I think that it's going to be really fucking exciting. It's going to be a really big battle. Obviously, you guys know what this show is, but when I was reading the comic books at this point in the story, it reached a point where I was wondering, okay, how can the comic book continue to outdo itself without feeling repetitive? And then we do get this certain fight. And I remember when the homie Kevin was on the show, he was reading the comic books the same time I was. And we both had the same feelings about this era of the comic books where it really revitalized our love of these books and what was going on here. So Mark gets into a fight as well as other people. Again, I don't want to say too much because I think if you haven't read the story, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised by what the show does here. But this fight is incredibly brutal, and because you're so attached to these characters, you really want everyone to pull out of this thing safely. For you old school comic book fans, for me, this fight was very reminiscent of like Superman versus Doomsday and the whole Death of Superman arc. That's really what it reminded me of. Just like the sheer brutality and force of it. And then wondering how in the fuck are they going to win? How are they going to stop this person? Because this thing is incredibly imposing. It's a character who hasn't been shown in the TV show yet. So if you're trying to guess who it is and you haven't read the comics, you won't. But man, it is incredibly exciting. If the episode is an hour long, then this fight will probably take up the bulk of that. If not, it will probably start in the previous episode and then continue on to the next. But yeah, I think you guys are really gonna dig what they have to show you here. But now that Caleb's back, we should stop talking shit about him.
Did you already tell them about the part where Battle Beast and Nolan fuse and they fight Darkseid?
Fuck, Kayla, I didn't get that far.
Oh, okay. My
shit,
bad.
Man, now you just went ahead and spoiled shit. Yeah, they become Omni Beast.
Omni Beast.
Yeah.
That sounds dope as fuck, actually.
Does. Oh, man. But yeah, we were talking about the prison break and the fight between... So, technically, Battle Beast really isn't on Alan and Nolan's side, but he just wants to fight. And he's got two Viltrumites that he can fight right now.
Yeah, and like, I love where Alan's like, Battle Beast can probably survive in space, right? And they're like, yeah, I mean, he's like, I'm gonna risk it.
Yeah.
And then of course he pulls the alien and like busts a hole in the ship, and everybody gets pulled out. And one of the Viltrumites sees this opportunity to rid himself of Battle Beast. Because like, I don't think Battle Beast can fly. So he's kind of fucked in the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
And this Viltrumite like tries to yeet Battle Beast off of him, and he just grabs into his fucking chest with them claws.
Oh.
And then they just keep fighting like infinitely.
Yeah, infinitely off into the darkness of space.
And Alan and Nolan are like, they gotta be around here somewhere, right? I mean,
well, I'll go ahead and spoil it for you guys. Battle Beast survives.
Yeah. That'd be an awful way for him to go, to just become like a beast sickle.
No one just survive. I'm pretty sure he's fine. Like, he's not in any immediate danger. Who is in danger is the other Viltrumite that Alan and Nolan fight.
Oh, though this kill was awesome.
This was taken directly from the pages too. Like, they took it directly from the pages from the comics and put it right on the screen. Brutal as fuck.
That just them punching him from both sides.
Yeah.
And you gotta think, man, a Viltrumite, this is basically like they just wrecked a fucking Kryptonian.
Right.
And this is a Viltrumite executioner. Mm-hmm. This ain't just like a scientist or like a fucking script writer or nothing like that. This is a fucking Viltrumite executioner.
Right. Like he knows some shit. Like he's capable.
Do you think they mandate on Viltrum the Hitler mustaches?
I don't know.
Or you think it's just like a fad?
They talk about it ever so briefly in the comic books, but I don't remember like what the reasoning was behind the mustaches. If I had to guess, I think that it is like, because we know Kirkman's two inspirations were Kryptonians and Saiyans. I think this is like the equivalent of a Saiyan having a tail. Yeah. The Viltrumites have mustaches.
It would have been funny if when the chick showed up, she had a little...
But yeah, it is around this time where we do get the reveal that, yeah, there's not that many Viltrumites left.
Yeah.
At all.
It's really fucked that Nolan was planning on going to his death just a few minutes earlier with this information.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, the only reason Nolan doesn't go to his death is he sees Alan getting his ass whooped, and he's grown fond of Alan at this point. And so he decides to step up and fight. Which Alan was holding back anyway, but at this point we still don't really know how well Alan would do in a one-on-one with a Viltrumite. So
better than last time.
Better than last time for you. He got fucking...
They knocked his eyeball out.
They really did.
He had to watch himself get his ass whooped from like third person.
That's awful. Right? That's like the worst.
And he got betrayed by Optimus Prime. Peter Cullen voiced that dude.
Oh,
the guy. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, you got to break that one down for me.
Yeah, same voice actor.
Okay. Well, that is 4 episodes down. I believe we still have 4 left. I think it's an 8-episode season.
Yeah, so our plan is to next week we should have the finale of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So we're going to review that for you guys. And then once the rest of Invincible has come out, we'll do a review of the last 4 episodes. And I'm hoping and praying and wishing that does not intersect with Born Again, because we have committed to do episode by episode for Born Again.
Yes.
It's a lot of motherfucking content.
It is. How fucked would it be if Born Again was trash and now we have to come here every week and review however many episodes of a trash TV show?
Well, that's the gamble.
That is the gamble. We're taking a huge gamble. We're doing it for you guys, though.
If it sucks, man, we just come in here and we'll just have a 30-minute cold open. We'll talk about the episode for like 10 and then do.
And then get out of here. Holy shit. I have been thoroughly enjoying Invincible so far. Overall, I think it's very well paced. I think that there were some people who had complaints about season 2. I think that maybe some of those complaints are warranted, but I think a lot of those complaints were from people's maybe feeling impatient with the show. They had to wait so long for season 2.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of hard to keep momentum like that.
I will say that I definitely prefer season 3 so far. It may be my favorite season. It's hard to say. We only have half of it.
Right.
But I'll say the way that it's like laid out and the way that like each thing really like almost seamlessly leads into the next. It's just really well done. You can tell that they're, kind of firing on all cylinders here.
Yeah.
I definitely like it better than season 2.
Yeah. I love all 3 seasons so far.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely there's not a bad season.
Yeah.
I don't think, but I think with season 2, it's like you said, we had to wait 3 years for that shit,
basically,
and
then there was a gap,
and we got that really big reveal with Nolan in season 1, and we get the big fight at the end, and he flies off, and I think a lot of people, after 3 years, they came back in and they're immediately just like, well, we want to know what's going on with Nolan.
Yep.
And they had, 3 or 4 episodes before we even saw him again?
Yep.
So it's just like, they're like, we don't care about that, we don't care about that, we don't care about that, we don't care about that. And I think a lot of people really wanted to see the main plot move forward.
Yeah.
And also, I will also say that in season 2, it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing with a lot of the side characters as well as they seemed to in this one, if that makes sense. I think even with season 2, like, it was really weird what they did with Angstrom Levy because they had a big intro for Angstrom in the beginning. And then you just don't see or hear anything about him for a while.
Right.
That
is true. Season 2 did have its missteps, but overall, I thought it was still a really good season of television.
Yeah.
Season 3, I think they've definitely got their momentum back. I think they got the fan base back. There hasn't been a bad or even a mid episode yet, in my opinion, for season 3.
Yeah. If you're going to do 8 episodes, man, I think at most, the most you can afford is one mid.
And that mid has to be like a come down, I think.
Yeah, like it's like the right before the finale, you know.
Yep.
The penultimate.
So 4 episodes left. That is 4 more weeks of Invincible. Does that interfere with Born Again? I think it might.
Fuck.
It might be finale versus premiere.
No. No. March 4th.
Is that for Born Again?
Yeah, so we're only going to have 6 episodes of Invincible by then. Maybe 7. So it's going to be like Born Again episode 1.
Yep.
And then we're going to have to do second half of season 4 of Invincible. And then that same week, we're going to have to do Born Again episode 2.
Yep.
And then somewhere in all there, we're going to have to be putting out 2 a week for a while. Because we got to start on Fantastic Four.
Yep.
We got another episode of the Throwback to do.
Yep. Yeah, we got some work for you. We got some work to do.
We're going to be putting out all the content, folks.
Absolutely. So be sure to go ahead and do all the stuff that all the YouTubers ask at the beginning of the episode, but we're not dicks, so we ask you guys to do it at the end after you've seen the content. Like, subscribe, share, fucking download, rate, review, email, send us flowers. I like tulips.
Also, as soon as Born Again is over, we're going to have Thunderbolts like right then.
I was thinking about that. Yep. Times of famine and times of plenty,
That's right.
That's what it is. But do you have anything else to say about the first half of Invincible Season 3?
No, I think that's it, man. I think this is a really strong, solid half of a season. I'm really interested to see where they go next. I know Eve definitely set herself up to be fucking killed in episode 4, having the montage and the sex scene and everything. I swear to God, if they pop a baby out, she's done.
Oh, boy. We're going to put a pin in all of that, guys. And we will see you guys at the finale for Invincible. Can't wait to get that. But we have plenty of content in the meantime for you guys. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.